I think these could be on their last leg.
Amazon told me they'd be here today. Well,
Amazon been tripping. I've been waiting for
it together.
I'm feeding my girls crumb treats because the damn dog treats were supposed to be here Sunday and they didn't show up.
Get it together, Amazon.
I know.
Well, it still might be here today. It's just not here before 12, I guess. So
y'all rich enough, man. Get it here. Come on, man. Welcome. Appreciate y'all being here.
I found where they do like, I don't know if it does all of Sacramento or whatever, but the little Amazon truck distribution place is not far from my house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's one in Natomas too, I think.
These people be everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I still don't know how they do it.
I don't either.
I ordered some random earbuds, and they really just gonna get to my house by tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Houseway.
And I ordered them at like 1 p.m. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm always interested in stuff I can get here. Like, if you order something in the morning, like, this is going to get here today? Or it gets here tomorrow versus something, that gets here in 2 or 3 days or whatever. And that's spoiled. Like, now when you order something and it's not here in like 2 days, you're like, yo, what's the problem? Customer service is trash. I ordered something on Monday. It's Tuesday at noon. It's not even here. Oh man, there's all sorts of good stuff around you in Natomas, man. I was home for your boy for a long time. There's all sorts of good stuff out there. Yeah, this was interesting. If the opportunity presents itself, we'll talk about that at 2:15 or 2:45.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
There's always 3 sides to a story. So WWE, though, the thing that upsets me, like, they just don't learn their lesson. Like, when stuff like that happens, shut up.
Yeah, they
calm down.
Like
wait, like y'all didn't learn? Y'all buried Austin for weeks after that, and then you regretted it. And we're like, yeah, well, we hope Stone Cold will come back. It's like, I thought they handled Punk better. Like, they just shut up and they just waited it out. Like, the fact that they put out some type statement last night is like,
yeah, they gave a lengthy explanation and all this. I'm like, wow,
what are you doing? And we welcome you in here to the 16th annual Sacramento Kings NBA Lottery Extravaganza.
Can't wait.
I'm Damian Barling.
Acknowledge me.
He's Kenny Caraway.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledge me.
Due to unforeseen circumstances, we are here. We are here.
Wow, boy.
To discuss the Sacramento Kings and ping pong.
That's how we
balls.
starting on a Tuesday, huh? That's how we start on a Tuesday.
Yeah, already these unforeseen circumstances are like they're like Luka Doncic in Game 7. Boy, they running up the score the last week or so.
Oh man, that's a wild boy right there, man. That's a wild boy.
Ain't me. I be minding my own business. If it ain't old Bryce shoots me a DM, like you see, like, hey, minding my own business, just sitting with the dogs, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, what is this? Y'all be roping me in, man. You know how it is. Don't act like y'all don't know what you're doing. Don't act like y'all don't know what you're doing, man.
Come
but
on,
yeah,
man.
we here. Kings basketball. They're back in the lottery. The lottery balls that we you talk about taking L's. Ain't nobody taking more L's than your boy here. I thought the lottery started at 4:30. The lottery does not. I swear every year, as much as I'm acquainted with this damn lottery, I thought it started at 4:30. It actually starts at 5. That's going to change some of our plans a little bit. But
yeah, I think you're not terribly off. I think they might have pushed it back because usually the Eastern Conference game starts at 5, Western Conference Finals start at 6. So when it's lined up with the Eastern Conference Finals, it's a 5 o'clock start.
yeah.
It is this year, but for whatever reason, they're starting the game at 5:30. It's a little later than what they normally do. So, not your fault. Not your fault.
It just bothers
They
me.
pulled an okie doke.
They did. I fell for the banana in the tailpipe. By the way, I don't think he's Kenny Caraway. Did I already do that? Did you acknowledge me?
We acknowledge
Acknowledge me.
I just want to make sure. Everybody's acknowledged. Everybody is acknowledged. We'll talk about the Kings. We'll talk about the lottery. We will, and we'll just continue. We'll just continue to amuse ourselves. We'll just go inside baseball, and for those that can figure it out, y'all are figure it out, man. But let's just name. Let's just name today's episode of the podcast canceled. You could subscribe to the D'Lo and KC podcast wherever you get podcasts from: Apple, Spotify, Google Play. Here on the Odyssey app, you could rate us on Spotify. You could rate us on Apple as well. You mentioned it. Eastern Conference Finals begin tonight. Of course, the main event for Sacramento is before that with the draft lottery. But the little dark match that comes at the end of the lottery for Sacramento should be pretty good. And I just can't help, I'm a fan. I almost said I'm a Boston guy. I'm not a Boston guy. I like this version of the Celtics a lot. Man, I'm concerned I really feel like we've been sleeping on Miami like for about 90 games now. I feel like we've been sleeping on Miami. They have just been consistently good all year long.
Hey man, they're the number 1 seed in the better conference. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I'm part of it. I'm part of the group that slept on them a little bit. I never picked them to get the number 1 seed. Never picked them to go to the NBA Finals or win the NBA Finals. But yeah, here they are. Pretty much no type of resistance whatsoever getting to this point in the season. 5 games against Atlanta. Took Atlanta a buzzer beater to win or close to it. Philly got 2 games, in Philly, but they were disposed very easily in the following 2 games. They haven't really been tested. I mean, can we say Philly tested them by getting it to 2-2? Is that fair, or was that just a matter of time?
No, it's fair. I think it was fair after game. I think you got about halfway through game 5, and it's like, okay, that's all they had. Like they literally, whether it was Joel or it was the Philadelphia 76ers collectively, they gave everything they had to get that series to 2-2. And once it got to 2-2, that was essentially it. We made it competitive. We pulled it even again. But the series, in neither one of the next 2 games were ever really in doubt. I mean, it was Miami had a stronghold on it.
So I say that to say Miami, I mean, they've done what we thought Phoenix would do, what we always want a number 1 seed to do. They've done it. Mm-hmm. And now they've got home court against the Celtics team that just came off a brutal 7-game series. Miami played on Friday or Thursday. I think it was Friday. Might have been Thursday.
No, I think it was Thursday because didn't we get to trash James Harden on Friday?
Yes, we did.
That's how I remember.
So here we are on Tuesday. They haven't played since Thursday. I haven't seen any reports on Kyle Lowry, but maybe he's out to get back out. He's out.
Jesse, can you confirm that? I actually thought we got the report yesterday. Yeah, that popped up yesterday. What we don't have is Marcus Smart. That's the one we don't have.
He's still questionable. So, I mean, everything is pointing towards the Celtics being able to, the Miami Heat being able to handle business like a number 1 seed in this game 1. But Boston
has with Lowry out.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what they did to Philly. I mean, dispose of it. I know Boston ain't Philly.
That's right.
I understand that.
Ain't no quitters on that team.
No, this is true. But Boston is coming off, like I said, an emotional 7-game series. Just played an emotional game 7 48 hours ago. And now if they don't have Marcus Smart, that's going to be tough as well. I'm still leaning towards Boston in this series because, with all due respect to Jimmy, I mean, I gave the belt to Tatum. They've got the best player in the series. So I'm leaning towards Boston, but I guess that's just me overlooking Miami again.
And it's not like with Miami, it's not like Dallas. I've just been wrong about, like, repeatedly, like over and over and over again, nonstop for like 3 years running. Just been wrong about them. With Miami,
I'm like that with Memphis too.
But with Miami, it's not being wrong about them. It's just like, oh, Miami won again. So, about those Phoenix Suns, about that blowout, like you just, the Miami wins. Cool. Miami wins. Yeah. James Harden stinks. Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers, like it's Miami is never the story.
Right.
Even in they beat Philadelphia. Pretty much run, they run Philadelphia out. All right, cool. The story's Philadelphia in that regard, not Miami. Miami finishes, you just said it, the top seed in the better conference. It's not really the story. The story might be that the Eastern Conference is better than the Western Conference, but still, we're looking over there. Oh, the Bucks, can they do it again? Oh, Golden State, where are they? Oh, Phoenix, those might be the top 2 teams in the league. Like it's everyone and everything but the Miami Heat. And that's where I think maybe it's not even overlooking them as much as it's like we're like looking around them. We're like, hey, Jimmy, Spo, can you scoot over? There's some James Harden slander behind you. I wanna throw out there. There's a hot Boston Celtics take, or a Bucks without Chris Middleton thing I want to throw out there. Can you and your top seeded team in the Eastern Conference move over?
And look, I promise you this. They're thriving on that. They love that. Between somebody like Jimmy, between Coach Spo, between Patrick. Why do I call him Patrick? Pat Riley, the GOAT. All right. Between those 3, they love this.
Sure.
They love this.
Sure.
Right. I mean, whether it's, I think they actually got this right in some respect, maybe, but we look at winning time. When it was time to get that extra bit out of Magic, Pat knew when to pull that card of disrespect, right? Mm-hmm. He came with, Bird got
30-6 or something. Yeah, that's something what it was. That. Yeah.
When Magic was clearly like out of gas, didn't have anything left, Pat Riley said, "This is the time." He feeds on all this kind of stuff, man. So I know, in some way, shape, or form, Pat Riley is talking about the disrespect that you guys continue to get. And the only way you go get that respect is you just go out and you keep beating guys. I'm pretty sure the majority of people are picking the Celtics in this series. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I mean, I'm picking the Celtics. I'm not picking anyone. I ain't doing that. I like the Celtics. That's who I like.
Pick somebody.
It never goes well for anybody. I'll just sit here and tell you who I like.
I'm picking the Celtics.
I like Spo, love Pat Riley. And I don't know how you cannot love Jimmy Butler, but Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, and Ime Udoka. That's the squad for me right now. And I'm one of the few. I like Brad Stevens too. I think
we like Brad Stevens.
They've all done really, really well in their role. And if the title changed yesterday, one of the most shocking events in this show's history,
main event 1988 Saturday night main event,
no doubt. Is that Dave Hebner? That was a moment right there. But if that title change holds up, and Tatum is the guy, this is the series that's going to have to define that series against Milwaukee. It's a nice little appetizer. It's like, okay, you've got the belt. You even acknowledged yesterday, you've got it, but you could lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could lose it tonight. You could lose it this series. You could lose it relatively quickly. You could be what they call it. You could be that transition champion. You could be You could be what the Iron Sheik was to Bob Backlund and Hulk Hogan. Bob Backlund had the title for like 6 years. Hulk Hogan had the title for 4. Iron Sheik had the title for a month. Jason Tatum could be that Iron Sheik if he don't. He could be the Iron Sheik that sets off Hulkamania, the Hulkamania that is Jimmy Butler. If the Celtics can't get the job done, but I've my take before the year. You go, what's your hot take for the season? I thought Jimmy Butler would be an MVP candidate, or excuse me, I thought Jason Tatum would be an MVP candidate. I thought you laid it out beautifully. The Celtics beating Kevin Durant. The Celtics beating Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum being the driving force behind that. Man, this could be the moment. Like, this could be the moment, because I've long believed, I think you have too, I think a lot of people listening to this have believed Jason Tatum, he's next. You know, we talk about that penthouse of NBA players. Tatum might be the next guy to enter that penthouse with Giannis and Jokic and the other guys that are up there. Like, he could be the next guy to enter that penthouse, and this may very well be the start of it, similar to last year's Eastern Conference Finals being the start of the run for Giannis Antetokounmpo. For us, obviously, Giannis Antetokounmpo had won 2 MVPs already. We're talking about, here in the history of this show, when you start to accelerate and hit to a different level. That started last year for Giannis, and that may be the case for Tatum now.
I got a question for you when we come back.
Okay.
You and everybody else.
All right.
You had me thinking about something just now, so I got a question.
I got a question for you too. Like, what was on your feet while you were playing basketball yesterday? We'll talk about that.
Just some shoes.
Yeah, they were some shoes, all right. I didn't know we did that. I'm just saying. We'll talk more about the lottery, Sabonis being out there. We'll talk about this draft, the picks, all of that coming up. You could be a part of the show in the chat house and on the phone lines, 916-349-1320. We're just getting started. It's D'Lo and KC here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Yeah, these DJ headphones, I can't hear anything outside of me. Now, what are they wearing these in the clubs? Oh, boy.
I got to send you a screenshot of this young lady they just pulled from the crowd on this episode of Raw.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Because it's very clearly not a fan.
What era are we talking here?
Oh, this is Attitude Era. So the bit looks like it's, remember Tiger Ali Singh?
Yep.
So it looks like the bit is he's gonna pay this young lady to kiss his little assistant, who appears to be eating either tuna or dog food out of straight out of a can. So I'm gonna send you the picture of this woman who they pulled from the crowd in the Attitude Era, and I'll try to show it on the screen here too. And there it goes. That's the woman they pulled from the Attitude Era. So I'm gonna here. This is for the. That's the woman that they put right there.
Whoa. Come on, man. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. Just pulled her out of the crowd. Right. That's what we did. That's what we did.
The Attitude Era is wild, bro.
Attitude Era is different.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Attitude Era is just different, man. Just different. Just different.
Oh man. I kind of think the Jesse demo is looking back at that time like, yo, you guys are wild, bro. That was a wild time.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Is KC wearing Reese's 13th round shirt? Deuce.
Come on, man. Stop hating on me, big dog.
Yeah, you gotta show off the figure.
Come on, man. Come on.
You gotta show that he been
I think I kind of like, I'm not gonna say I'm Giannis or Dwight Howard, but I think one of the attributes for me is I got broad shoulders.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the case. Because there's a buddy of mine who's like, he comes off shorter than me in a major way, but he's not really that much shorter than me. He might be like an inch or two, but it comes off as if he's like 3 or 4 inches shorter than me. But I think I attribute that to my shoulders are a little more broader, go straight. His slump a little bit more like this. I think that does a lot. So I
like
that to
t-shirts.
say, you know,
Snug, so
I like them like this. And this is one of the. No, this isn't one of the new ones. It's one of the.
No, that's an original. So that's even that even fit a little different.
Yeah, I like this fit right here. I like the other one too that I got, like the D-Lo and KC joint and the Bel Air joint. But speaking of, I gotta get summertime fresh, man.
Yeah, we all need to get to DLoandKC.com. I've done a terrible job at promoting that website. The website's still dope and the merchandise is still awesome. DLoandKC.com. Head over there now. It's good stuff. I did. If we have the opportunity, we'll talk about that around 2:45 or so. We'll talk about it during one of the commercial breaks, even if it's not
the return of the house show. A lot of day baseball on today. That's what I'm talking about. Right now, I got White Sox Royals, but I'm gonna have to switch over to that Dodgers D-backs. You know, I got to know this enemy. I got to know what's going on with these guys at all times. Okay. Little bastards won last night. Bro, what's going on in Oakland?
That's ridiculous. That is just ridiculous.
Come on.
That is just ridiculous. Big yes. Believe it or not, your boy saw that.
Yes, sir. Good job. Good job.
I mean, what the hell else was I going to do last night?
Renee Montgomery, she asked, what are we watching tonight? No WNBA, no NBA.
It was nothing. Because believe me, that's the app I went to first. I was like, oh, for real? They usually don't play games on Monday. I was like, oh, all right. So, and I don't have any shows. So it was okay. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. I can't say I was locked in, but it was on.
It was an interesting game. I had basketball practice, so I watched that on DVR, speeding through. You know, I speed through baseball games. I can turn a baseball game into 40 minutes, maybe 40.
Yeah, now I can get down with that.
Where Leezy, what you talking about, man? Come on, man. I was the first. I was first.
NBA draft lottery tonight. We'll obviously spend a lot of time talking about that. And bad job by me, poor host. Eddie Gonzalez will be with us coming up an hour from now. Eddie Gonzalez, a.k.a. Boogie Buzzins.
Hey.
Co-host of the Etcetras with Kevin Durant. Did a great interview with Kyrie Irving recently. Sacktown's own as well. We'll talk to him about a lot of things because he's going to join us on the stream for the first time. So we're going to get a chance to just kind of kick back, talk, have some fun with Eddie Gonzalez coming up at 1:17.
Real quick, got Leezy talking about in the chat, talking about KC. Have you looked up Shaden Sharp from Kentucky? Come on, man, I was first. Just like Sean John to the West Coast. Wasn't nobody talking about Shaden Sharp until I was like, yo, look at this dude right here. Come on, man. You know that. You know that's true.
No one had ever mentioned Shaden Sharp's name before, ever.
No, that's not on the West Coast.
Not on the West Coast. So he brought Shaden Sharp. Kenny brought Shaden Sharp and Sean John, which is incredibly difficult to say back to back for reasons known to absolutely no one. And so thank you for introducing.
You're welcome.
You for introducing.
And now I might have hyped him up too much. He might be out of position for where the Kings are going to be at.
Well, no, what I find is the more you slander a guy, the better they are. So if we can find this year's Scottie Barnes, that's the guy who's going to be the next star, the rookie of the year. Now,
I like the man. I just didn't say he was a franchise changer. Which I don't think he's a franchise changer, but he would have absolutely helped with the Kings this year.
See, no, I'm calling cap. This is you media types. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you media people do. You kind of try to reshape history. You are the WWE. You reshape history thinking we're going to forget what really happened. When I believe for about 4 months, you didn't even call him Scottie Barnes. You called him Scottie Barnes is going to change something here. Scottie Barnes.
I don't think he's a franchise changer. That ain't true. But he's a damn good ball player.
but you weren't referencing him as a damn good ball player. You
Yeah, I was referencing him as not being a franchise player, which I still don't think he is.
I'm gonna need someone to pull. So you wouldn't like Scottie Barnes here in Sacramento?
Yeah.
Thank you. We don't forget. Come on, man.
No. You guys. The media, man. The media. This is why I just got to start going Pat Bev on people, man. Because
Pat Bev's media career ended yesterday.
Like I said, I said it back then. I said he's a good ball player. Okay. He's a damn good ball player, but he's not going to change the franchise.
Okay. So last
you need somebody like Book Knight. He's going to change the franchise.
That's why I hate this job sometimes because of stuff like that. Man.
Yeah, boy, man. Scottie Barnes. I would love to have Scottie Barnes on the squad.
Jesse's going to look at the podcast analytics tomorrow wondering, why was everybody going through shows from a year ago? Why was there a big spike in the archives? Because of this, everyone is going to go find that. Dr. David's already working on Twitter right now. I can feel it.
This is a lie. This is an absolute lie. Soren talking about, I had the same tone for Scottie as Mac Jones.
I mean,
that is the biggest cap I've ever seen.
No. I'm not going to
let you do this because I know how I felt about getting Mac Jones, and it was not how I felt about getting Scottie Barnes. That's a fact.
You relayed this. You relayed your feelings in very similar ways.
Hell no. Hell no. I'm not letting.
Just to be clear, I just want to make sure I got this right.
I did not tell Monty McNair to get on Redfin if he took Scottie Barnes. I absolutely did not say that.
I believe that's accurate. You did not offer Monty McNair a premium Redfin account. I just want to make sure we have this outlined right. We're all wrong.
Yes.
Like all of us, like literally. All of us remember this wrong, but you've got it right.
Absolutely.
Okay. If anything, I just want to make sure.
Look, Leezy's probably more on point, where I was probably that way more about Franz Wagner than I was Scottie Barnes.
You had a tone. You had a tone. Let's see what this is from March 18, 2021. I love the show, but I ain't buying this. We don't need a top 5 pick nonsense. Scottie Barnes ain't helping us get to the playoffs next year. This team needs top 5 talent. Shouldn't even be a discussion. It's crazy talk. You quote tweeted that.
That's not what I said. But
no, you quote tweeted that.
Yeah.
That's why you don't draft Scottie Barnes.
Yeah, I didn't want to draft him. We've already established that. I didn't think he was some type of scrub. Like you guys are, I thought Mac Jones was, well, I actually said Mac Jones wasn't a scrub, but I didn't want him whatsoever. They're not in the same category whatsoever.
From our friend Brendan Nunez. Damian Barling watching Dame Lillard go off, knowing he's going to hear at IMK Diddy turn it into a talk about Jalen Green tomorrow. Kenny Caraway quote tweets that. LOL. Scottie Barnes can't do that.
He can't do that. I'm not wrong. He can't do that. He's a good ball player. He's not a franchise player. He's not franchise. He can't be the best player in your team.
I need to know definitively. You would not have liked Scottie Barnes on this Sacramento Kings.
Yes, I would have liked him on the team. Okay. Absolutely.
All right.
He would have been a piece to what we were trying to do. My thing was, we need that franchise changer. We need a franchise player.
And you thought that was in the draft?
I didn't think there was one in the draft. I thought it was in the top 3. I thought Jalen Green was that. Cade, I wasn't sure about Cade, but I was like, yeah. I was even thinking about that today. I was like, remember how hyped up I was for Jalen Green, and like, yo, Jalen Green is that dude. I would say he's the best player, right? And then I was asked the question, and then I asked it on the air. I said, as much as I think Jalen Green is the best player, if I had the number 1 pick, would I have the grapefruits not to take Cade Cunningham? And I said, I don't think so. I don't think I would not take him. That'll get you fired. Even though I thought Jalen would be better, I was like, I think I'd probably still take Cade.
You still think Cade's going to be better than Jalen? Over the next.
Well, I thought Jalen was going to be better than Cade. Cade came on crazy in the second half of the season. crazy. Like he showed up and showed out. So, you know, Cade might end up being better than Jalen. I still like Jalen. The one thing that stuck out to me with Jalen last year was, man, he looked like a high schooler. He looked like a kid out there.
But how much of that do you think had to do with the team that he was on?
A little bit probably had to do with it.
But he was like a kid on a team with a bunch of kids, though. Like he didn't stand out.
Right. Exactly. He looked the same as Josh Christopher. But even his body looked like a high schooler. You know what I'm saying? So it reminded me how young he is. And we'll see if he, you know, I'm sure he will, develops into, you know, his grown man body and stuff like that, and what his game is going to look like at that point. Two great players, okay? And Jalen are great. Evan Mobley, as somebody that I wasn't crazy about, he had a phenomenal rookie year. I wasn't crazy about Evan Mobley, but he balled out. What
was the question you wanted to throw our way?
We were talking about Eddie Gonzalez being on, Boogie Buzzins, a.k.a. Bansky, pulling up on us later on today. I just wanted to ask you before we talk to him. I went back, listened to the Kyrie interview. Did you come out of that feeling any different about Kyrie?
No, I thought it.
How do you think Kyrie came off in that?
Like Kyrie?
I
don't like. Yeah, I don't. I mean, not trying to be like vague like that. That's exactly what I expected Kyrie Irving to say. The life of a martyr. I think he does a good job after the fact. And I feel like he's done this for a long time. He can acknowledge his faults after. I think one of the bigger issues with Kyrie, and we'll talk about this with Eddie later, that Kyrie doesn't seem to be able to acknowledge, certainly not publicly, his faults as they are faulting, like as they are creating issues, as they're creating problems. He doesn't seem to be able to recognize those. Once they get in his rearview mirror, and it seems to be within an instant. You know, in the Boston case, it was months later. In the Brooklyn case, it was like the post-game press conference. Yeah. He seemed to be able to acknowledge everything that went wrong, and walking away from his second conversation with Eddie on the Etceteras podcast, it was like, yeah, this is what I expect from Kyrie. This is how I believe he feels.
I always think people look at Kyrie as if he's some kind of buffoon. I don't think about that way about Kyrie at all. I think like I said, he's the ultimate contrarian. I do think that, but I think he's an intelligent guy. I think he thinks a lot of the time about different subjects. I just think one of the things that you see when you talk about him, like after the fact, acknowledging stuff, I just think he's never gonna let the media see him sweat. And I think he has it in his head. They're never going to back me into a corner. When he gets with somebody like Eddie or KD that he trusts, and, you know, it's a sit down, he's a little more open. Like he feels like he can be open with them and he can say, hey, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it won't be Stephen A saying, I knew it. I did it. Like, I just think that in those settings, he's a little different than when you see him at a podium.
Well, I also think it's his ability to, I also think it's a form in which he can speak at length and talk how he wants to talk.
Right.
And, you know, you can, and it happens, like you can take a clip of a podcast. You could take a clip from a 4-hour show and put it on social media and provide it without context. But the receipts are always there in that, okay, no, you got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to put this on Twitter. Expand it to 5 minutes and 30 seconds and you'll get the entire context to it, or forward the piece before or forward the piece after. Like Kyrie can always speak in those situations with complete context. That's not as easy when you're at a podium, when you're not, you know, when you're in front of one reporter or one host. It's a lot different than being in front of like 3 or 4, or in, you know, the Brooklyn Nets case, probably dozens.
Right.
But I don't think Kyrie's not an idiot at all. He just handles himself a little bit differently.
Right. I just feel like he's never, and it showed itself in the ultimate way with this vaccine situation, but he's never he's stubborn in the fact that he's never going to allow somebody to make him do something, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm not going to, nobody's going to make me act a certain way, make me say a certain thing at the podium. Like, he's super ultra sensitive to that. So with that, you know, he gets crazy stubborn with his stuff and
Yeah.
backs himself into a corner sometimes. But I didn't think it was like this revelation from Kyrie. I kind of felt the same way as you. He talked like Kyrie. He said some things that were, oh, okay, I see you. I understand. But yeah, interesting to see what Eddie thought about his conversation with Kyrie.
Yeah, it's one thing to understand why someone does something. It's another thing to agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
look, Kyrie feels like he was handling the situation the best way he knew how.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he recognized later that wasn't best for his team, but again, sometimes you got to focus on what's best for you. He felt like that was best for you. Okay, like I don't see it your way.
All right.
And now you wonder, you can't possibly wonder why all of this other stuff happens.
Right.
Why the stuff with the Brooklyn Nets happened. Why the stuff with Nike is happening. Why all of these different, you know, clouds, so to speak, seem to follow you. Like when you can't wonder that. Like if you want to do what's best for you, man, that's your bag, 100%. Right. But when you work in this type of industry in which so many people rely on you, and it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that. I had another question that I wanted to ask you and everybody else.
Can you carry away Q&A? I like it.
LeBron did one last night. Did you tap into it at all?
I did not. I actually didn't even know he did it.
Yeah.
On Twitter or IG?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Oh, Lord.
I saw when he did it. I didn't see any of his responses or what I didn't see any aftermath of it, but he was like, all right, guys, I got time. Q&A. Bring him on in. So I don't know how that ended up. But we were talking about Jason Tatum, and we were talking about him having the KCC strap. He's got that belt right now, and how he's getting to another stratosphere of being with the Giannis's and the KDs and things of that nature. And I just want to ask you, and I want to ask the people, and I'll answer it myself. Is Tatum on the same level as Luka, or is Luka a step ahead?
Oh, shoot.
That's crazy.
Cold.
That's crazy right there.
I'm gonna say the same.
I'm about to say the fact that you have to think about it makes me feel like they're on the same level.
Yeah, because I'm,
and I think there's people who will disagree with that.
And that's okay.
They'll say, "Yeah, I get it. I understand."
Yeah, like I don't think there's
notch ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I don't think Tatum's ahead of Luka. Like that's what I was really going through. Is like, okay, Tatum's not ahead of Luka. Is Luka ahead of Tatum? Or man, Luka's really good, man. He's
crazy,
really good. Like
in every postseason, he just gets crazier. This boy is nuts in the postseason. That's crazy.
Yeah. But until this year, he's nuts in the postseason and losing effort. So that's it's not a knock on him. It's not an individual sport. I mean, but Tatum this isn't his first Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
Man, that's cold. That's a tough question. I'm gonna say they're even.
I'd say they're even too.
Man, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Can I give you the numbers for Tatum's last 4, 5, 6 playoff series?
Yeah.
27, 6-5, 29, 4-7, 35 4, 26, 9-6, 24, 10-5, 27, 9-2. I mean, it's not like he's trash, dude. It's not like and that's playoffs only right there.
Right.
Those are playoff.
The crazy
numbers.
thing about that though is if we pulled up Luka's,
I'll do it right now. I'm right. I don't think he is like Jesse sent him some crazy Luka scoring numbers yesterday. Let's just look at here. Luka's last 4 playoff series. Luka's only 4, but these are Luka's only 4 playoff series.
Oh man.
God. 32, 9, and 7. 29,
Crazy.
29, 10, and 5. 35, 7, and 10. 31, 10, and 8.
Oh,
Those are
man.
Luka's. He's only had 4 playoff series. He's been eliminated in the first round prior to this year every year. Those are the 4 series that he's. Oh man,
that's crazy. Here's one thing I will say, maybe in favor of Tatum, and that's Luka has complete free reign to do whatever he wants on the offensive end. I don't think Tatum necessarily has that. He's got Jalen. He's got Marcus.
Marcus Smart ain't gonna let him.
Right.
Marcus Smart ain't having that.
And maybe that's the reason why Tatum has been able to go further in his playoff career overall. You know what I mean? Because people talking about Luka. I see some people saying, Luka right now because of what he's done overall. Well, this is the first time he won in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. This is Tatum's 3rd Eastern Conference Finals in his career. You know what I mean? So I think Tatum has shown that he has the ability to score at that 30-point a game clip, but he doesn't have the free reign that Luka does. And not everything runs through Tatum all the time like it does with Luka. But you could flip that on his head and say, he's got better teammates than Luka does.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really, really close. Mm-hmm. Like when you like I'm looking at the career numbers just right next to each other. It's on every front. It's really close. If you gave the nod to Luka, it's probably just by a little bit, but it's understandable. Mm-hmm. But regardless, I mean, we talk about Devin Booker and Luka Doncic being this next great rivalry. And I think part of that is we saw a little testiness between the two. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's a very real possibility that a very real likelihood Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum are the next 2 stars to lead this league. Yeah, I just think that highly of Jason Tatum. I honest to God don't know if that dude's even approached his ceiling yet. Like I think he's incredible.
They both 23, 24? Both of them?
Yeah, I mean, just based on years they've been in the league, that would be my guess.
Luka's 23, I think.
Luka is 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Luka's 23 years old. Yeah. Damn. That's the future of the league right here. Yeah. I mean, is there almost maybe a bit deceitful? Is there like a new guard versus old guard? Like, and I don't mean guard like the position. I mean, old school versus new school. I mean, is there a potential changing of the guard here when you look at Dallas versus Golden State? Obviously, Golden State still very, very good. Golden State could not only wind up in the NBA Finals, but could wind up hosting that Larry O'Brien Trophy up. Right. You look at that, and I don't know necessarily that the Dallas Mavericks, as they're currently constructed, are the team to take their place. Certainly could do it for a year. We've seen the Dallas Mavericks team take over a dynasty riddled era for a year. It could be that, but we're talking about a particular player in Luka Doncic, and you look over here in the Eastern Conference Finals that start tonight. You've got Miami, you got Eric Spoelstra, you got Jimmy Butler, who's in his 30 and some change for Jimmy Butler. You got Eric Spoelstra, certified Hall. Spo could retire anytime he wants to. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Facts.
But here's Boston, who's been knocking on the door since the year this team was assembled. The core of this team, since the year that the core of this team has been assembled, they've been knocking on the door of the NBA Finals without getting to the moment. Is there a changing of the guard moment here in these 2 conference finals?
We could be seeing that. And as you're saying all that, I'm thinking in my head, I'm trying to think have we ever seen the NBA like this young? And I'm trying to think back even to LeBron, Kobe, and Carmelo. And I don't know if we've seen it like this.
Well,
Like
Kobe took
who did I say? LeBron, Kobe. I mean,
D Wade.
yeah, LeBron, D Wade, and Carmelo. And LeBron, remember, he wasn't really in the playoffs for about 2 years. I think he got to the second round, his first playoff appearance, I believe. Could be wrong, but I believe. But
I think Carmelo went year one.
Carmelo went to the playoffs with year one. D Wade won a playoff round his first year. And I think maybe by
a championship.
What was that, by his third year he won a championship?
I thought it was the second, but yeah, it could be his third. But by the time the playoffs got there, like that was when he took over that squad.
So maybe you put that era in there, but I got to be honest with this. This may sound blasphemous. It feels like Tatum, Luka, you throw Ja in there. You know, I feel like they're doing it on another level, individually at least.
Yeah,
like the numbers these guys are putting up is insane. And we talk about. I know he's the butt of all the jokes and everything right now, and he's got work to do in the future. But I mean, Devin Booker, cold, man.
Oh,
and Devin Booker he's 25, right?
Yeah.
Like I think he just turned 25. Dude. I mean, these guys, the league is set.
25
and we got
years
more
old.
coming in. We got Anthony Edwards coming in. We got Cade doing his thing.
That's the one, yeah.
We got Jalen. We got all these Evan Mobley. We got it's time for 2 more teams, man. That's all I can say.
And it's time for one of them to get into a Kings uniform. We'll talk more about the National Basketball Association and the future of it as D'Lo and Casey return here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. All right, 1 second.
You don't want to say it with your chest? Okay. All right. I got you. That's funny.
Man. Son of former basketball player Melvin Booker. That's a great name.
Who's Melvin Booker?
Devin's dad.
Oh.
Melvin Booker.
Oh, okay. James Ham, due to unforeseen circumstances, we'll be pushing the Kings Beat podcast until later tonight. It's just going around. We didn't say that.
Is that what he? Oh, I was like, is that really what he said?
He said, due to the NBA draft lottery this evening, we're pushing episode.
Yeah, I think Ham might do a live. I think he might do a live show tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, LeBron was really out here answering questions.
So today, we live about, I don't know how many miles. I'm not good with miles. We live about 5 minutes away from Reese's school. If we're driving, it might be like 5 max. So we're trying to get him in the, be a little independent and all this other stuff. And we were like, all right, ride your bike to school. And I rode behind him, and Jazz is going to ride behind him, not on her bike, but drive behind him when he's coming back. But he's like, yesterday he was all excited, like, okay, yeah, I get to ride my bike or whatever. And we rode up and down the street, around the neighborhood and everything was good. And this morning, he was just struggling. Like, he couldn't stay on balance. He was riding around.
Oh man.
He would
Oh,
think it was
buddy.
this long trip to school. It's all he should, if he's riding his bike normal the way it should be like 6-7 minutes. But it's
Got
like it's
there.
like 10, 15 minutes, and he's
Or a
like,
kid
"Oh,
was
I
probably
have to do this."
sweating. Man, come on, Reese, you got it, baby.
It's like, I don't know why I have to do this. This is stupid. Like, 'cause you need to learn. You live in the same neighborhood as your school. You should be able to ride your bike. So we'll see what happens on the way back.
You got it. You just got to get the hang of it.
Take his lumps early.
Yeah.
Jonathan, no. We'll be back though. We'll be back. The plan is we'll get on YouTube or something when the lottery.
Due to unforeseen circumstances. I don't know. Just hit the alert button on YouTube. The plan was to stay on till 5 till we realized we would likely be on till 5:30. And it was like, wait a minute, what the hell are we going to do for 90 minutes? We could have made our way through it for 45 for sure, but oh, nice. Okay. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight on ESPN 1320. D-Lo and KC, of course, brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world. Handcrafted in Brazil. Funny enough, but you mentioned LeBron had a Q&A last night. Looking at it, just he really was diving in. He answered a lot of these questions. Top 5 favorite movies. This isn't the one I meant to bring to your attention, but given the running joke here on the show, I felt the need to. Top 5 favorite movies for LeBron James: Gladiator, The Godfather, Coming to America, Friday, and Wedding Crashers. But the question that got my attention was this one: favorite player under 25. All caps, Luka. He's my favorite player.
I'm trying to get him to LA.
This just in from Adrian Wojnarowski. Luka now being represented by Clutch Sports. That's not in from Adrian Wojnarowski.
LeBron to Dallas coming soon.
Best player left in the playoffs. A lot of great players still playing. Steph, Luka, Jimmy, Tatum, Clay. These boys are hooping this postseason. Just scrolling through these, but the player under 25 got my attention. Definitely got my attention. Top 5 hip hop albums. Interesting.
Well, what's he say there? Because LeBron, before you answer that, I hope he just keeps it real. Like, don't talk about like, something that Eric B. and Rakim did, bro. You can't say that, man. That wasn't your era. You can't. I'm a firm believer. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that those are the best 5 to me, because I didn't live during that time. I didn't feel that energy. I would just be going off what the old folks said.
That's like the 25-year-old who says, "How can we keep disrespecting Elgin Baylor? Why doesn't Elgin Baylor ever like what? Like,
man, you don't know.
What do you know about Elgin Baylor? What are you talking about?
That's why I say it when I do.
He wasn't even alive for Magic Johnson. What are you talking about?
When I talk about like the best fighters of all time, I always cut the line at 1960, because people are gonna say Sugar Ray Robinson, and that's cool because he had like 400 fights. But number one, the cynic in me would be like, he was fighting plumbers. There's no way you fighting 400 times and fighting the best people all the time. But then also, I didn't live Sugar Ray Robinson. How am I going to just be like, yeah, he's great without any question? I didn't live through that time, or say he's not great. So I just say, I'm gonna set him off to the side. I'm gonna say 1960 and beyond. See, we gotta be fair with our stuff. That's why I still have Wilt in my top 5, though. Wilt's number's crazy.
Well, all of Wilt's numbers are crazy. The Chronic, Doggy Style, Black Album, like Life After Death, and It Was Written. but I have so many more to name for real.
What's
wrong with those albums?
Black Album, not a top 5. That's his favorite.
That's his top 5.
I thought he said the top 5.
No, he said his top 5. Well, it says top 5 hip hop albums. I think he's answered it's his.
Yeah, I
don't think he's trying to make a proclamation that it's the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
And look, I come in here.
I don't know why you hate on the Black Album like that.
Because it's not even. It's like his 4th best album, and it's a great album, but it's like his 4th best album.
All right,
come on, man. But see, look, this is what I come in here and I start talking about the best fighters of all time, the greatest fighters of all time. Why every time I bring that up, somebody got to talk about Rocky Marciano?
That's they won. That's they won. He beat Joe Louis's ass. I was trying to think who was the fighter that they brought up in Coming to America. Rocky Marciano. That's who it is. Rocky Marciano.
Here he go.
Here he go. He beat Joe Louis's ass. NBA. And LeBron really went Coming to America. Like part 2. Like he really went with the Amazon one.
With what?
As one of his favorite movies.
I didn't I thought
I watched Coming to America.
No, that's a typo. He don't feel that way.
He put the number 2 in there.
Yeah, that's maybe he's running out of characters.
It'd be funny if you put Space Jam on it though, but didn't put Space Jam 2. Ain't nobody gonna say like, "Oh, my movie's my favorite." I ain't gonna do that.
I think he was.
I just love that he's sticking with the Godfather gimmick. Like I love that he continues to ride that.
It's too many scenes.
There's just too many. No, just one LeBron. There's so many. No, literally, name one line from the movie LeBron. I can't. I've watched it every night for like all night for the last.
Godfather is one of the longest movies in the history of movies, and he watches it every day.
Every day, every night, all night. It's just on repeat. All 3 of them.
He's got a Godfather TV.
That's 10 and a half.
Play anything with the Godfather.
It's 10 and a half hours worth of movies every night. There's so many.
Did you know, and this isn't breaking news, you know they do that at Bubba Gump's? They play Forrest Gump on Endless Loop.
I didn't.
Yeah, I love Bubba Gump's.
I don't think I've ever actually gone to it.
It's a good place.
I don't think I've ever actually gone. Does it still exist?
Yeah. Maybe they don't have as many as they used to, but I know they still got Fisherman's Wharf, and I think they still got the one in Monterey. They got one in Times Square, I think. So I love
the first time I saw that movie, I didn't like it.
No,
and I've never really watched it, but I stumbled across it like 2 weeks ago, and I kind of watched it for a minute. And it was like, okay. All right. But I think I was relatively young when it came out. And I was like, plus at the time, it was long.
Mm-hmm.
Why are all albums like 20 minutes and all movies are like 2.5 hours? Like when did this happen? When did movies stop being 90 minutes? When did albums stop being 50 minutes to an hour? Like, how did we get like 2.5 minute songs and then 2.5 hour movies? Y'all who love them Marvel joints, I blame y'all. All these Marvel movies is 3 hours long. You got to invest days into it. I've been trying to watch the Batman. Batman's 3 hours long.
Damn, I didn't know it was that long.
That movie's long. Every time I go to click on it, oh man.
When the conference finals over, I think I'll watch Batman.
Come to think about it, I should have watched it last night.
Yeah. Well, we got all-star practice. We got a lot going on right now. My time. It's crazy. But yeah, I like Forrest Gump. I wasn't like crazy about it, but I thought it was a good movie. Like from the first time I saw it. It reminds me of did you ever read the book Maniac McGee? Did you read that growing up? It's kind of like a Forrest Gump type guy. That's what it reminded me of.
You're listening to D'Lo and KC on ESPN 1320 KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook as well. You can check us out on the Odyssey app at 1320 AM. If you're going strictly audio, Eddie Gonzalez host of the Et Ceteras with Kevin Durant, just did a lengthy interview with Kyrie Irving. He's going to join us. Been on the show many times. Going to join us on the stream for the first time. If you want to watch that, that'll be coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. Of course, the NBA draft lottery is tonight, which on most nights means nothing to most teams, except we are in Sacramento, so it means a lot. We've got to create scenarios of what if we get into the top 4? What do we do? Does it make us more likely to trade the pick? What if we get number 1? Who's the worst pick you'd trade? Who's the worst player you trade the pick for? Thanks to Matt George for that. We've got to create all of these different scenarios because it's the Kings, it's the lottery. We are always, always here. My question to you is, and I feel like we've maybe tiptoed around it, but haven't like had a full-on discussion about this. We just Scottie Barnes. We just went through last year's draft, and you talked about, would you have the courage if you had the number 1 pick, as much as you love Jalen Green last year, and everybody who listened to this show last year leading into the draft knows how much you love Jalen Green. Would you really actually be able to select him over Cade Cunningham if you had the number 1 overall pick? And we believe those are two really good players in the league, bright futures. Obviously, Scottie Barnes, Rookie of the Year. He's got a bright future in Toronto. Davion Mitchell, we're hoping for big things for him here. A number of other players in the league that you feel good about, right? Like you look around, you go, these guys are good. Is this year's draft like that, where you can look at guys and go, no, now obviously there is a bit of hindsight. I don't think our tone has changed with these players, but there's a bit of hindsight in that we've seen them a year in the league, and maybe we feel better about how we originally thought, or maybe our thinking lines up with the way that they played in the NBA. But is this draft like last year's, or is this draft like the Anthony Bennett draft? Like, is there no top? Is the biggest star in this draft going to be drafted at 13? Are they going to be the Giannis pick in the Anthony Bennett draft?
Man, it feels like it could be a possibility. I look at this draft.
Anthony Bennett's extreme, by the way. That might have been too much. I'm sure there's a happy medium between Anthony Bennett and a successful number 1 overall pick. But
Andreas Bargnardi, is that a good one?
Probably not. Probably want to go in a different direction with that one.
Like last year, 2018, you get the number 1 pick, you getting a franchise changer. I don't know if any of these guys are franchise changers. Any of these, Jabari Smith Jr., Chet Holmgren, and Paolo, aka Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if.
Wait. Now what she's saying? Wait, you're not. You're not who I thought you were.
He didn't even pause like that. He just asked him a question and goes, "Oh, I thought you were somebody else. No wonder you weren't answering me." Yeah. Who
someone
are you
probably someone probably said in their ear, "That's not Patrick Mahomes. That's not Patrick Mahomes."
But I'm not sure if those 3 are franchise changers in the same respect that we had Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, what I feel Jalen Green is last year, or the at 2018 with Trey and Luka, and we thought DeAndre Ayton and stuff like that. I don't know if these guys are that. Matter of fact, they may be more DeAndre Ayton than Luka or Trey Young, because Luka's maybe completely different. They're more DeAndre than Trey Young. And that's still a good ball player.
Sure.
Still a good ball player, but are they changing your franchise? Are they eventually going to be the best player on a playoff team? I don't know if these guys are that. I'm not saying they're not. I haven't seen enough yet to be convinced that they are.
Obviously, there's nothing hot in this take here, but I don't think many of us believe the Kings are actually going to move up in this draft. I mean, it's certainly possible. The percentages say that it's possible. If you're happy with, and I think virtually everyone is. I mean, certainly not everyone. I think a large percentage of people are happy with Tyrese Halliburton. That obviously turned into Domantas Sabonis. They're happy with Davion Mitchell. They're happy with the draft selections. so far, you might even dig Neemias Queta. You know what I mean? Like you're happy with the draft selection so far from Monty McNair. This team needs to find that guy. Like if they're going to stay in this draft, which I guess that poses another question before we get into what the Kings do. With what you just laid out, with what we've talked about the particular talent in this draft, doesn't that devalue, even if whether the Kings move up or don't, doesn't that devalue? We'll keep it general, picks in this draft in terms of a trade conversation. I mean, we've got universal deals involving Rashawn Holmes and a pick. Is this pick doesn't have the same value that it might have last year or that it might next year or 2 years from now? This particular year, this close to the draft, does a pick have a ton of value?
I think it does, because and I'll say yes, because like if you're looking for the franchise changer, you might be a little disappointed in that one. But I think there's good players in this draft. I think there's players that can help a franchise reach certain goals, right? Almost like, to be honest with you, like a Scottie Barnes, right? To go back to him. Like, I don't think he can be your best player, but damn, he could be a hell of a weapon, and he could be your second or third best player on, you know, a playoff team. I think he can get to that point. I think they got guys like that in this draft. Cade, Evan, Jalen, Trae Young, like those guys are your number ones. I don't know if they have those guys in there. So I say all that to say, like, yeah, if you're looking for more Scottie Barnes, more Franz Wagner's, I think they definitely have those guys in there. So you want to value those picks. But if you're solely like, man, I just need that star, maybe you don't value it as much. I value them. I do. And they got good players throughout this draft, like throughout this lottery. So you can get you a really good ball player at 7, 8, 9, something like that.
What's the how do you say the brother's name from Kansas? The guard's name from Ochia? He's from Kansas. He's a guard.
Like a shooting guard, small forward kind of.
Yeah, so that's where I was going. Like, is that the gem? Like, are we looking at and if this draft is obviously, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox and perhaps even Wes Welker, their whole the front office, maybe Alvin Gentry's too. Their assessment of these players are going to be different than ours. I know you like, you know, Shaden Sharp, which of course means he's going to either skyrocket up the draft or plummet in the draft. But if there aren't guys that stand out, right? And if we did a rating scale of 1 to 10 and everyone measures out between, you know, like a 6.8 and an 8 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a situation where you go for fit, where fit winds up being the most, we could get a really we got this talented, guard here, this talented potential. You said he's a shooting guard / a small forward. Mm-hmm. And we got him graded at a 7.2. Now we got this other player graded at a 7.5, but position wise, man, this makes much more sense with this kid from Kansas. We could pull this off. Is this the type of draft where fit maybe takes a priority over best available because they might be extremely similar in terms of a rating scale?
Man, it's tough because I'm kind of the belief you always go for best available and figure it out later.
No matter how close it is?
Nah, and that's why it's tough. Because if they are close enough, maybe you just go for fit a little bit better or a little bit easier than what you normally would. If like you said, the scenario you laid out, they're really close on your rating. So however you rate these guys. But it's always like, I know for me, if I went for fit, and the guy that I thought was better ended up being better or being really good. I'm like, I should have just stuck with just take the best player and figure it out later.
Well, I mean, that's the Luka thing, right? Wasn't the Luka thing always fit?
Mm-hmm.
And not that like, and this may very well be a situation of they had Marvin rated really high.
Right.
And Luka, now by all accounts, this doesn't appear to be the case, but it could be we have Luka graded at this, but we have Marvin graded really high. Marvin's a better fit. We go for it, and that fails for everybody. So I think it
was actually just that.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that, and I know you're not saying this, nobody else, they didn't look at Luka like he's overrated. Like nobody, they were like, oh, he can go. Mm-hmm. Like he's the truth. But Marvin is the truth as well. And if we have a point guard, let's go with this big man as well. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably will do 2K rating. They may have had Luka at a 94 and Bagley at a 90. They're like, well, let's take the 90, with the big man, something like that. And came back to bite him in the biggest way.
Yeah, it did. We'll celebrate the 20th anniversary of Luka Doncic being drafted down the road. 916-349-1320. Leezy, big day for you, Leezy. What's up, man?
Yo, D-Lo, Casey. What's good, guys?
What up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I just wanted to call in and talk about the draft real quick. I'll just make 2 quick points. For the Kings, worst case and best case scenario, I'll say, AJ Griffin or maybe Shadion Sharp. Not sure if I'm saying it right. I like both those guys, but I just don't know how they're going to develop, with Terrence Davis and Harrison Barnes in front of them. And 2, just real quick, I feel like the Kings last year kind of picked their direction. They want to win now. So, when you move a Tyrese for the bonus, even if you get a good pick this year, I feel like the best thing to do if you want to win now is maybe move that pick again and get a good star player, if you can.
I'm all for that. I don't have any problem with that.
I don't. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I don't have any problem with that. I just don't know if you're gonna get the star player.
That's it. I don't know that it's out there.
Yeah,
I don't like. We've just painstakingly gone over this. And of course there's players who are available for trade that we're not aware of. Like not everything is public. Not every general manager or agent calls Adrian Wojnarowski or Shams or Mark Stein, or not all minority owners call their favorite reporter at The Athletic. Like that's not the way other NBA teams work. There could very well be big name players or relatively big name players, solid contributors, big time contributors. There could be all-stars that are available this offseason right now that we don't know about.
Right.
But the ones that we have sneaky suspicions about, I don't know. I don't even know. I wonder sometimes if is John Collins, like we talk so much about John Collins because we believe he's available. Is that even the guy? Does that even work? Is he the fit? Is he a fit? Is he a perfect fit? Or is he just a better player? Like, is that what we're looking at as a Kings organization? Like, just, all right, maybe it's not the perfect fit. It's an okay fit, but God dang, he's better. He's better. We know that. And it's the model you just laid out. Get him, figure it out, which concerns me a little bit, but I get it.
And I feel like that is more so what the case is with John Collins. Like I like John Collins. I think he's a good ball player. He's available for a reason, right? Like he's available for a reason. And it's not just because of money or something like that. Like he's available for a reason. So are you able to, are you able to get more out of him than what Atlanta is willing to get him? Like, for instance, Atlanta is not trying to move Capella or Trae Young because they're like, no, that's our guys.
There's a little rumor out there that Capella.
About Capella?
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why they do that. It seems to have. Oh, you look like you're thinking. Are you thinking? Is Capella doesn't make more sense than Collins, does he?
No. Capella is I don't want to say worse, like not bad player, but he's in the same realm of what you talk about with DeAndre Ayton, just without an offensive game.
Yeah.
So no, you wouldn't go with him, but yeah, I mean
Capella would fit really good with Tyrese, though.
Oh, man.
Maybe trade him to Indiana. Like he'd fit really, really good with Tyrese.
That'd be his bag. But to your point, like we think Collins will work out great here. Like we think, but we don't. You think but you really don't know.
Yeah.
and you never will. Shout out Jim Dora.
Shaden Sharp is another name that Kenny's digging, Kenny's loving. It's a
Shaden
name
out
that-
here looking like Paul George.
Oh my. Oh my. We're doing that already, huh? That's another 2, 3.
2-3.
Or
yeah, he's 6'6", 6'6". You know, he's still like I think 19 years old. He may grow an inch or two. So
I mean, we gotta, we'll get the, we'll have the lottery tonight. We'll do this week's of shows, and I mean, I shoot our group Bryant West a text. It's hashtag Bryant West season. We start diving into these potential Kings prospects here over the course of the next month or so.
I'm gonna get in my bag too. I'm gonna break some things down for you. Remember, I gave you guys LaMelo Ball. I gave you guys LaMelo Ball. I said, yo, this kid, he passes crazy. It's crazy what he can do. It's crazy. He makes some of the best passes I've ever seen in my life. I gave you guys that. I told you.
That's right. No one knew about LaMelo Ball before Kenny Caraway graciously brought him to us. And knowing Kenny, he brought LaMelo to us in a pair of off-whites. I heard a story this morning that Kenny actually gardens in off-whites. I don't know that that's true or not, but I heard like his bum around the house shoes are some off-white ones. That's just what I heard.
That's why we haven't hooked up Jasmine on off-whites just yet, because I think she really would garden in off-whites. She just doesn't care. I'm like, what are you doing in those shoes doing that? So what?
I only thought PJ Tucker was the only one who played basketball in them until I went to Instagram this morning. I was like,
one shot.
That's not what it looked like. That's not what it looked like to me. That is not what the Instagram story said. We'll talk to Eddie Gonzalez, man. He's going to join us next here on the stream on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Eddie.
Yo, how we doing?
What's up, Brody?
Does this work for y'all?
Oh man, you look like $1 million, brother. You look like $1 million.
What's good, family?
Nothing much. Hold on, let me spit this gum out. My bad. What's up with y'all?
Man, we just trying to get through another draft lottery. You know what I'm saying? We just trying to get through that draft lottery. That's all we ever got to look forward to.
You got plenty of experience. You good?
You already know what it's like.
Hey, were you ever a Kings fan?
When I was in high school, it was like you couldn't help but want them to do it. I really love Jason Williams and C Webb, but that's
about it.
I wouldn't call myself like a diehard, but C Webb is C Webb. Like he's gonna matter forever.
Hey, so look, we're gonna have this right now because they don't like me talking about boxing on the air, so we're gonna have it right now. Hey, man, I still got love for Canelo. You know what I'm saying? You for sure like a prime Canelo hater, but I got love for Canelo. I had him number 2 pound for pound. He only fell 4.
Arrow's one.
I got Arrow's number 1.
You think he's gonna beat Bud?
Yeah, I do. That's a 50.
I don't like Bud is the one I like. I feel about Bud how you feel about Canelo. Like almost to the T. Like didn't take the challenges, took the easy way out.
But I
all the excuses.
I feel the same way about Bud that I feel about Canelo. Like I like fighters more, but I can't deny what I'm seeing. Like them two they nasty, bro. Like they sick. I feel that way about Bud. I think Spence gets him though. I think Spence gets him.
I want to see the power. The Sean Porter thing was so weird, but I want to see how Errol deals with the power because I do think Bud might be a little stronger.
I don't know.
We'll see. I still don't believe they're fighting.
I think they
They had no choice. Like there's no other fight, but they could for sure talk their way out of boxing. Boxing.
But look, like I texted you last night, Big Charlo and Canelo. That's what we need in 2023. He's gonna have to fight. He's gonna have to beat Benavidez. Why?
They're gonna have to do that. They're not both gonna be able to get him.
Fight them both. Fight Benavidez on Cinco de Mayo weekend, and then have Big Charlo after that.
They should have just outbid him. They should have gave him 3 fights. I think if PBC gave 3 fights, they would have got him.
Canelo, but Canelo. This is what I say about Canelo. As a businessman, I'm gonna be honest with you. Why would I fight those fights when I can
No,
make
he
more money fighting
that's
Triple
all.
G?
That's
Like,
all it comes
I
down
get it.
to.
I do get it. Like, I'm not mad at it.
I used to say this about Floyd and Manny. Like, I don't think any fighters are scared of anybody. They're fighters, especially on that level. Like, I don't think he's scared of David Benavidez. He says, "Yo, 160 million for a dude I've beat twice, and another dude I feel like I should be able to beat, and then an open-ended fight. Yo, I need
that." and if I take the DAZN deal, that doesn't mean the PBC matchups go away. Like, they still gonna do them. I can make another 160. But if I take the PBC fight, the DAZN, like Triple G might not be here in a year or two. So let me just get this quick money real quick in 2022, and then I'll see what I want to do in 2023 if those dudes still viable.
He basically took the bread and a bye because in the meantime, Big Charlo and Benavidez, they should fight because he's not going to be free. He's not going to be free until next fall at the earliest.
Right.
So they should fight. But I mean, he did the right business. He from the school of Floyd for sure.
He getting that money, man. He getting that money. That boy Canelo getting that money. I'm just looking at it. I just want to, and when I say Canelo this and that, it's not to say he can't beat those dudes. I just want to see the great fights. I want to see the mega fight. I want to see Oscar versus Floyd again. Like, I want to see that type of fight.
I actually think he beats Benavidez, but I do like.
Hang on, Eddie. We're coming back right here, Eddie. Sorry, bro. We're coming back on the radio. Hang on. Bonus edition of the 13th round, jumping off during the commercial break with Kenny Caraway and Eddie Gonzalez. Man, you can catch that on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320, on Facebook Live. And we welcome you back here on 1320 AM in the Odyssey app. We welcome in the host of the Etceteras, our man, Eddie Gonzalez. The Etceteras, of course, a fantastic podcast that you do with KD. The media world has really kind of opened up for you here over the course of the last year and some change since you linked up with KD, man. What's the ride been like?
Busy, it's crazy. It's crazy. I had a house guest this week. It was like, yo, how does it feel? Y'all get it. You be so in the mix that you don't even realize what's going on half the time. So sometimes, I got to sit back and go exactly what you just said. Like, a lot of things have opened up for me in the last year, and hopefully some more open up in the next year. So, but it's been fun. It's always fun.
Yeah, man. That's what's up. Now, you literally had a courtside view for that Celtics in that series. What we talked to you before the series started, it really came down to the others. And to be honest with you, and this is my guy, I don't expect you to go hard, nothing like that. I thought Boston did a phenomenal job on KD. And I thought KD or Steve Nash or whatever it was, I just didn't like the positions that he was on the court against that defense. And I thought Boston did a phenomenal job on him. And I thought they did a good job of keeping him from being as effective as I thought he would be in that series. Did you see it the same way? Did you see like, KD, they kind of got him. They kind of had him, in a straitjacket a little bit, or was it just simply the others weren't able to do what they were supposed to do?
I think it's a mix of both, which not to be a cop out, but he for sure could have played better, and he would say that, and he did say that, and he overthought it. He was trying to figure out exactly how to attack that defense, and what the best route for him was. And he spent a few games distributing, get teammates involved, and you see Bruce Brown have a big game, you see Seth Curry have a big game, and it just doesn't happen. And you see him have a half where he shoots over 11. Literally, it's never happened before in his career. And so, yeah, of course you say he had to play better, but I mean, it's credit to that defense. And they did the same with Giannis. Giannis is a little bit stronger, a little bit bigger, and was able to bully more than Kevin can and make a difference in different ways and get in the paint. But, yeah, I wish he could have got more off-ball touches. I wish he could have, kind of did what Tatum did to the Bucks defense, which was very similar. I'm just shooting over it, whatever. I'm just going to shoot 35 times. But, I mean, I do think in the end of the day, it did come down to the others. It came down to Grant Williams. It came down to Derek White hitting a couple shots. It came down to Marcus Smart having timely possessions. And, they played 4 tough games, 4 close-fought games. And I feel like the Celtics proved their mettle, and then they did it again against the Bucks.
Yeah.
Tell us, you're obviously close with KD. You've done a couple of just really phenomenal, had a couple of really phenomenal conversations with Kyrie Irving. Tell us something we don't know or understand about Kyrie.
I mean, I feel like most people don't understand anything about Kyrie. So, but I think the key is, and I said it on the show too, like he means well. You know, he's one of those people who we're not going to agree with everything he says, but he means well. I always joke that I love Kyrie because he treats the NBA like a 9 to 5, which is good and bad, but it's like not going to put his values below the NBA. You know, it's always going to be his values first. But no, I mean, he means well. He's a kind-hearted guy, and he talked about it on our show for the people who haven't listened to it, just kind of the weight of his position and how many people he is responsible for in a way, and that extends like just beyond his inner circle, even to like the neighborhoods he represents, the cities, the towns, the state, and that's weight he's been carrying since he was 15, since people were telling him, "Yo, you're next."
Mm-hmm.
And he wears that. He wears that on his sleeve, and you know, it doesn't always come out right. I call him NBA Kanye. Like sometimes it's the right message and the wrong messenger, but you know, he does mean well, and you know, not everybody is meant for the NBA template in a sense of what you're supposed to be as a player. So
I like Kyrie, man. He makes me shake my head sometimes. I ain't gonna front, but I've always liked Kanye. I've always liked Kyrie, right? You guys were talking in this latest episode, and you talked about how you feel he's got the best bag in the NBA, the most skills in the NBA, and one of the things that you talked about, and I can understand where KD, LeBron, all these guys can co-sign that because they probably look at their games as like, I'm gonna go get 25, 30. Like, I'm gonna just do it how I do it. But how he does with the dribbling and orchestrating stuff, like I can't do that. I just rise above and shoot. Like it's different. I used to feel this way about watching Jason Williams, right? When you would see all the things that he does behind the backs, the tricks and all this, like you know he's in the NBA, right? It's the NBA. He's doing that. It ain't 24 hours Saturday morning. Like he's in the NBA. Kyrie gives me that feeling, man. Like what are some of the reasons that you say he has the best skill set in the game?
I look at the variety of ways he can score, the places, like there's no place on the court he can't score. He can shoot from range. He can get the mid range. They made a big fuss about him wanting to post up. Like he feels like he can post up. He has. We've seen it. He can drive, and that handle, man, like that separates people. Y'all know if the three of us hooped at the gym and we playing 21 or we running threes to somebody, like the guy with the nicest handle on the court, he's controlling the game and he's changing the game in every way. So, I mean, that handle can't be understated. We got a weird like discourse with basketball now to where like just getting buckets is devalued somehow because it's like, yo, I can throw it to the guy in the corner, but putting the ball in the basket is still the hardest thing to do on the court, and Kyrie does that like nobody else. So, to me, it's just a variety of things he can do, the variety of ways he can get buckets. And there's other guys who can do that. But man, he makes it look real pretty, don't he? Like,
man, it's poetry, man. That's art, man. When he's out there moving the way he's moving, man. I can't imagine doing some of the things that he do. And I'm confident in my game and on my level. But even at 24, I can't do what Kyrie does in the NBA. I can't even do that at 24.
Yo, I tell people Kyrie plays like how we want to play in our heads. He does that in the NBA. Like when you make your guy on 2K, you get the handles first, then you get the threes, then you get the layup package. It's like he does that. He does that in NBA games.
Layup badge, you know.
Yeah. That contested joint, he got that. Both hands.
You mentioned Kyrie treats the league like a 9 to 5, essentially. Like it's a job. Is it a job that he likes?
I think he loves basketball. Does he love the NBA, the NBA shackles, so to put? I don't know if he loves that, but he loves basketball. He mentioned on our show about being able to turn basketball off. Like, you know, I said, I feel like you're one of them guys that's never going to stop playing. He's like, oh, no, I will. Like, you know, he said he compared it to being drunk. Like, I've had enough basketball shots. Sometimes I can put the bottle down. But, no, I mean, he loves that he does this for a living. He loves that he's able to put that on display for the world. But I think, yeah, I mean, he's went head to head with the NBA a few times in the last couple of years, and who would not be disgruntled walking away from that. He got a big year coming up. You know, there's no reasons for him not to be on the court that are in his control, out of his control, however you put it. There's a lot of expectations. And so, you know, there's a lot for him to put out there at the moment. And I'm very interested to see how he attacks it.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, you're more than just KD, the Nets, and Kyrie. Man, you're an NBA aficionado, man. So I wanna ask you something about what we got going on this show, right? Like, and you'll appreciate this being a boxing fan. We have belts, right? We got straps on here, right? We got the KCC, that's my belt. We got the DLO, that's Damien's belt. Our producer Jesse, he's got the JTF, right? Yesterday, and with the whole thing with the belts is there's a difference between the best player in the world and who has the strap, right? Canelo don't have the strap at 175, but he the best fighter in the world, right? Like nobody would say Bivol the best fighter in the world, right? He just lost. Canelo's still the best. So LeBron, KD, they don't really have the strap. I had the strap on Giannis, but after Game 7, I took the KCC championship. I gave it to Jason Tatum. Right now, I gave it to Tatum. I say he's got the belt right now. If you understand the analogy at all after that long-winded way, do you think that's fair to say Tatum has the belt today?
So I do understand it. It's a thing I use too. I give the lineal, you know, best player alive title. I wouldn't have necessarily passed it to Giannis after the net series last year. Only because Giannis came out and said, yo, that guy's the best out there. And that means a lot to me for the players to say that. But I think Giannis had it going. And if you're doing, beat the champ to beat the champ, I think it's JT. I think Tatum has a chance though. I think I think people will be shocked to see him play in person, see how big he is, see how tall, long, and to do the things he does, being that height. Yeah. I think the guy to watch out for is Luka.
That's it.
Luka has a shot, man. And what he just did to the Suns, and after Game 1, I'm like, oh, the Mavs don't even have the personnel to win this series. Like Jason Kidd's smart, he sees what's going on, but they don't even have the bodies to guard this team. And to turn it around in the way they did, and to hear them talking all that trash and say, oh man, everybody talks and they win it, and then give them 40-point blowout, 30-point blowout, send them home on their home court. What he's doing is special. So I think he's in the running. I think Tatum's in the running, and they got about a month to get it. And it might happen, but we might also just get Steph Curry winning, and people are gonna feel like it's him.
Steph might get the strap, man. It's out there, boy.
That's what we were talking about a few minutes ago, Eddie. Is like this feels like it as good as the Golden State Warriors are. Like when you drop it down to like a player spectrum, it's almost like an old guard versus a new guard. In the sense that you got Steph and that crew right there, but it's Luka. Like we've known Luka's time is coming. We've known that since the minute he stepped on an NBA floor. You're looking at Tatum, that crew as constructed essentially went to an Eastern Conference Finals their first year together. They're going against Eric Spoelstra, certified first ballot Hall of Famer. You got Jimmy Butler, the wily veteran over there, and you got this version of the Miami Heat squad. Man, it feels like it's a perhaps new versus old right here, where we could legitimately. Like you said, we could see a changing of the guard, or we could see Steph Curry hoist up another NBA championship, or Jimmy Butler perhaps hoist up his first.
Hey man, sometimes Roman Reigns just wins at the end of the play, at the end of the pay-per-view, and it might just be that. Like it might be no money in the bank to cash in, but I like that we seeing new faces in this.
I think Steph Curry's John Cena. It's just Steph Curry's John Cena at this point.
Hey man, we can take that deeper and really, really go in on that. But yeah, he's one of them dudes for sure.
See, we had Giannis as Roman. I didn't think Giannis had the strap since he beat the Nets last year, Durant, and then he got it with the championship. And I didn't think we were going to see, even with he didn't have to win a championship, but I just thought he wasn't going to lose the strap this year. But the way Tatum played, number one, he got through KD in the first round, and then the way he played, for me, what catapulted was that Game 6. That was one of the great playoff performances under the circumstances of all time. And it's like he did that. He wins Game 7. If I can't give him the strap, then he ain't never gonna get it. So yeah, I thought Giannis was Roman, but Tatum came through, and I don't even know who he could be because ain't nobody beating Roman right now. So I don't even know who Tatum could be right now.
Hey, Giannis says Roman is perfect because I for sure was booing him, and then finally just had to respect the work.
Acknowledge the work.
Like, hey man, you getting it in enough? Like, all right, I guess I'll cheer the act. Like, here we go.
Giannis looked at Eddie courtside, acknowledge me, and Eddie was like, "Acknowledge, bro. I
Giannis
got
put
you."
the crown on his head, figuratively and then literally. And it's like, all right, bro, 50 and 20 to win the title. You got it, bro.
My goodness. My goodness.
Who do you think walks away with it this year? Not our fictional title belts, but the actual Larry O'Brien trophy.
I think the Celtics, and not just because they beat the Nets, actually because they beat the Bucks. And when I walked into that series, the size and athleticism on the court on both sides, and I think especially for the Celtics, to me that's just like new basketball. That's the answer to what the Warriors did to the league, where we're just spread out and shoot, and you got to keep up. So it's like, all right, well, we have 5, 6, 8 guys, and they're athletic, and they run, and they defend, and they strap up. And then we might throw 2 7-footers out there and just like overcompensate for their lack of foot speed and make it work. And it just made basketball bigger and more athletic. I think that defense is just too much, that they're so versatile with the lineups they can use. And then Tatum and Jaylen Brown, like we talking about Tatum, but JB's right there every step of the way doing what he needs to do too.
Yeah.
So I just think they're clicking, and I think that defensive presence they have, there's not a team out there they can't guard still. They're going to switch everything for that motion offense. They're going to switch everything on them pick and rolls, and they're going to say, just beat us. And there's no weak guy to pick on. They can go to that 5-man lineup and say, I guess you can try Al Horford if you want, but we watched them just have 2 great series in a row. You can try Robert Williams if you want. A lot of people thought he was the defensive player of the year. And then we have the defensive player of the year. And our 2 young bucks, we think they can defend too. So I just think they have too much. They've had some young mistakes. That game 5, it was game 5. Like to blow a game like that, it was at home. It was kind of crazy, but they got through it. And they're battle tested. They're as battle tested as anybody left. They were playing in game 7s against a lot of people's GOATs rookie years. And so I just think they got all the tools they have, and they just got to go out there and do it now.
Yeah. Eddie, man, next time you're out here, man, you got to pull up on us, man. Hopefully we'll be in the studio, man. You got to come out, spend an hour with us or whatever. And then after that, maybe later, you'll let me, be in the same vicinity as you. When I seen Eddie in the spot one time, man, and he was like, "Yo, fam, you're gonna have to leave. I'm here now." I was like, "Yes, sir." You know what I'm saying? I'm out.
Hey,
I'm out.
Kenny hit me for the tickets, and I got him tickets on the plane. And then I land, he's like, "I don't even need them no more." I'm like, "Bro, hey, I'm gonna be out there next week. I'm gonna tap in with you guys for sure, man."
Let's do that.
Absolutely, man, for sure.
Let's do
my daughter's graduating, so shout out to her. So I'll be out there, Elk Grove High. You'll see me at Golden One.
That's what's
Let's
up.
go. Love it. Appreciate you, man. Always great talking to you, man. Thank you, my brother. Thanks for tapping in here on the stream, too.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Always,
yes, sir.
Big dog.
That's Eddie Gonzalez, host of the Etceteras, man. That's one of our own right there. You got to check out that podcast if you haven't. You talk about what was the line that Draymond was using? New age media, or the new version. New media. New media right there.
New media.
That's what it is, man. That's what it is, and it's great stuff. And I really do enjoy listening. One, I enjoy listening to all of the podcasts, but I really enjoy listening to guys like Kyrie, Kevin Durant, guys that aren't necessarily super open with traditional forms of media.
Mm-hmm.
I like hearing their thoughts on stuff, and while I may not agree with it, like Kyrie, it's unfiltered. It's true. It's truly how I believe Kyrie feels. It's truly believe I think Kevin Durant feels in some of these conversations. I just also think that okay. You talk about taking the weight of when you're a young black athlete, taking the weight of the world on, like from your neighborhood, from the people you're around, you grew up with, you went to school. That comes with being a young black athlete. Like every young black athlete who's been successful feels that. When you start taking on these extra endeavors, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, that's on you. You could say whether taking the weight of your neighborhood, all that stuff, whether it's fair or not. It's not about fair. Every black athlete before you has experienced it.
Right.
When you start talking about I'm a martyr and I'm taking on I'm the voice of the voiceless for the non-vaccinated. Okay, Kyrie, stop, because the non-vaccinated aren't voiceless. In fact, they're extremely vocal. Like, let's be a little bit more aware of what we're talking about. But again, when you hear him talk about it, I think Eddie put it perfectly. It almost sounds sarcastic, but he means well. Like, it's like, oh, baby, your heart is in the right place. Like, your heart's in the right place. But in the end, it's like, Kyrie, sit down. Let's discuss this.
Yeah.
Let's really talk about this right here. But he is a guy who gets entrenched in how he feels. And it makes the point being, it makes for a great listen. That was the point.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I've always said this. I think you said this as well. As much as I don't agree with his stance and other people's stance, like, I can understand, like, what you mean. Like, if you feel like you're being forced to get something, be like, no, hold on. Like, I don't want to be forced to get it. Like, I understand. Don't agree. I have my reasons for not agreeing and all this other stuff. But I didn't think his stance was just crazy out of left field. I mean, it makes sense. But like you said, when you talk about being a martyr and all this other stuff, it muddies the waters a little bit. But he's an interesting dude. I thought he put it in perspective when he talked about being like, there's like 0.03% people that make the NBA in this world. And because of that, like, there isn't no kind of handbook and blueprint for how to deal with that level of fame, that level of notoriety, whatever pressures you may feel, and might not get it right all the time, right? You might not get it right all the time, but even Eddie was talking about, like, I can tell KD, like, yeah, this is what I think you should do. But at the end of the day, like, I don't have the same pressures and responsibilities, and I don't have the same life. I can't relate on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say they're out here on their own, because they have other guys who've gone through it that they can lean on, but there's not a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can reach out to somebody right now, a number of people who've done radio, and get sound advice. Not a lot of people who were like the greatest players in the world, like the best, the greatest of the greatest. Like, Kevin Durant is one of 20. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and 15 of those guys played in a different, when the world was just different. You know what I mean? Like, Kevin Durant could probably go to like 3 people right now that would understand everything that he's got going on right now. It's crazy. It's a trip when you think about that.
There's a new King story out.
This is interesting. It really is interesting. It really is interesting.
Is it Angelia? Is that how you say it? Do you know?
I think so. That's how I read it. I don't want to.
Anjali? Maybe it's Anjali.
Anjali. Yeah.
Anjali Ranadive, daughter of Sacramento Kings owner Vivek Ranadive, is the new assistant general manager of the G League Stockton Kings. According to multiple sources, she is with the Kings in Chicago for this week's NBA draft lottery. That's according to our good friend, Sean Cunningham. All righty. More from Sean Cunningham. Anjali Ranadive becomes, and please forgive me if I'm saying her name wrong, becomes the latest in a line of family members from the NBA ownership. Most notably, the Lacob family with the Warriors, the Buss family with the Lakers, to step into a front office role. She will serve under Stockton's general manager, Paul Johnson. Ranadive will assist all aspects of basketball ops, including G League player evaluations and development, strategy, among others. She's been with the organization working in the social responsibility department, and she's excited to bring her passion for basketball to her new role. Again, that all according to Sean Cunningham. NBA governors with children working for NBA teams include Atlanta, Miami, LA, Golden State, Denver, Charlotte, and Houston.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I didn't feel like it catches your eye, when you see this. But it's not foreign to the Sacramento Kings.
Does Jeannie Buss have children? That's kind of the one that I actually when he referenced LA, I was actually, I guess winning time is still in my head, and I was thinking, oh yeah, Jeannie Buss, of course. Like, no, does Jeannie Buss have kids?
I don't know.
It certainly could be. I don't know. I guess she have to.
I mean, the incompetent Buss brothers took over the franchise. They were running the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like this happens. You don't necessarily always see it happen like in an actual working role. Like she has a job as opposed to just, oh, I'm taking over when it's done. You don't really see that too often. And it did come out of left field. I understand that.
Would you like to guess how this announcement is going on social media?
Oh, I know how it's going.
Okay.
Without even looking.
Yeah. Oh, it's there. Oh, Sean's Twitter account. I hope he's got his notifications off because it is all bad on his new Fox 40 phone right now. We'll come back. We'll talk more about the latest development in the world of the Sacramento Kings. We'll talk about the lottery as well. We'll talk about what they're saying about the Kings around the league. Though I'm guessing you already know. We'll do all that when D'Lo and Casey return here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. And that's a good line. We got to use that one on the air.
Oh, let me switch back.
Oh, let's see.
What'd you say, Jesse? Oh, for sure. Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. I agree 100%. I don't disagree. I'll tell you this though. This is the interesting thing about this is I'm just gonna be honest. If I owned an NBA team and Reese wanted to work for the team, he'd have a job.
As the assistant general manager?
But what does that entail? Like we know what it entails, but like what does it entail really? Like is she really making decisions? Is she really doing anything other than scouting? Like you say make her a scout. All right, she's scouting. She's not making no decisions.
Let me. Sean's tweet is legit set me in like a tailspin here. Let's try.
She is a scout. What is she doing though?
Scouting.
Yeah, but like, is that any different than a scout?
Scouting is part of. So I would argue,
want her to make more money, so you give her the assistant GM title.
Mickey Harrison's son is the chief executive officer of the Miami Heat. That is a significantly larger position than assistant general manager. Of course, I'm going to assume, and I have no clue, that Nick Harrison went to school for this.
I don't think
he's been with the organization for 17 years. One more time. I'm sorry. I stepped on you. What?
No, I don't think Miss Ranadive went to school for this either.
Yeah, let's see. Nick Harrison enters his 17th year with the Heat. Chief executive officer. Been the chief executive officer since 2011. Oh, this is a family-owned business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out where, in fact, he did go to school. If he did. Boy. Oh, my. Let's look
looks
at the quote tweet, shall
all
we?
aspects of basketball ops, including G League player evaluations and development. That's what
Ooh.
a scout does.
290.
Strategy. That's what a scout does. She's a scout. She just don't have the title. She's a scout for the G League. I don't even know if they have scouts for the G League. Yeah, she wants to become a GM. I don't dispute that.
Oh, here it is. From Dank Quan Jeffries. I'm reading. I'm mad that I said that on the air, or that I said that on the commercial, because that's going on the air.
That's funny.
Dank Quan Jeffries.
Is it an angle for her to eventually be a GM? Absolutely.
Well, I did one of my favorite things to do here. It's Stilo and Casey, brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest chin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil. Jill Adge pointing this out to me. Isn't this our man Drake's old job?
I didn't know that. Yeah,
I think this is Drake's old job.
Oh, that's whack. They should have brought Drake back instead.
Should we get Drake on the phone and ask him how he feels about this?
Let him know. You have to let him know. Yeah, no, they were looking for that to fill that position. They should have brought our guy Drake back, man.
One of my favorite things to do in situations like this is to pull up the quote tweets. And again, I hope Sean Cunningham has his notifications off. First quote tweet I see here. This is from Patrick, some sort of media type. He quote tweets championship. Another individual quote tweets the famous Michael Jordan laughing gif that Jason Jones likes to use so much. Of course, it's not Jason Jones that quote tweeted that. Lots and lots of laughing emojis. Quote tweet, this franchise is a parody. What do we got here? This was one of my particular favorites. It's from Dank Quan Jeffries. This is especially concerning since Monty only has 1 year left on his deal.
Now, I will say this. I spent a lot of the time talking about how people are kind of, I don't want to say overblowing the whole thing, but like saying like, oh, she about to come for Monty's job. I will say this. That would be crazy. Like if she was the general manager next year over Monty, now that's going too damn far. I will say that.
This one is especially entertaining because it includes a GIF. So while I can't convey what the GIF shows, I'll read to you what the caption says. Someone got inspired by the creative liberties taken in Winning Time and said, "Oh my God, that's me." If you've watched Winning Time, you'll sink into that genie bus roll that wasn't real, but that's good stuff right there. Maybe she prepared for this by performing at halftime of a Kings game.
Which she did.
Quote tweet, Ryan Ritter says she's going to be the general manager this time next year.
Now, like I said, that would be damn crazy.
Google this woman to find out how ludicrous this is.
That's where I'd be like, this is just out of control.
LMAO. Google says she's an R&B singer-songwriter.
That song's with Tyga.
Kings fans went from lottery excitement to disbelief in a matter of a tweet. Quote tweet, Kenny won't get it. Everyone else will. Assistant to the general manager.
I get it.
Vivek is a big fan of Winning Time, I guess. King's Muse says this franchise continues to surprise me. I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm very. I didn't know the job opened up. I would have applied. Looks like I might have had a decent shot.
Now, look, I was making an argument over the commercial break that because Jesse was like she should just be a scout if she wants to get in, And I'm like, well, I mean, she's basically a scout with a fancy name. She's a scout actually with more she's more than just scouting the players.
So like just anybody can scout?
Oh,
is it really is scouting? Can I tell you the answer to that is definitively no. Scouting isn't just sitting down to watch basketball.
I think there's about how many people are on Twitter?
I believe it's 25 million.
Yeah, I think there's 25 million people who think they're scouts every damn day.
No, think that's a difference between they're scouts.
They're not though.
No, that's a difference.
They're not.
No, it's a difference between your boy Elijah says failed pop star becomes assistant general manager.
That is funny.
I'm just glad she got rewarded for her work she put in as vice president of social engagement.
Is that what she was? Was that really what she was?
I don't know.
I didn't know she was with the organization.
Yeah, it's Sean said in another. Oh, Sam Amick weighs in.
Vice president of social engagement to assistant general manager.
Sam Amick's tweet is ... That's it. Just the 3 dots.
If anything, though, I will say this: it's a bad look. I understand that.
The amount of
terrible look.
The amount of winning time references are wonderful. I'm so proud of everybody out there. Literally. Oh man,
that is a terrible look.
Okay, I do want to point something out. I just can't get off of these quote tweets. I do want to get to the other important notes that
I wouldn't have the guts to do this if I was a Beck.
Sean put out there. I didn't have time to. I tried to. The Jeannie Buss one is just really baffling. I don't think Jeannie Buss has kids, so I don't. Obviously, I'm missing something. I just don't know what I'm missing. Jill, I'm sure you know. Fill me in. What am I missing with Jeannie Buss?
What's he saying?
The NBA governors with children working for NBA teams.
Mm-hmm.
Let me mention the teams to you real quick: Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
Miami, LA, Golden State, Denver, Charlotte, Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So Charlotte's Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan's made a variety of bad decisions that we have just chose to ignore because he's Michael Jordan.
I didn't know his kids were working for Charlotte, though.
I didn't either. I wanted to look all of these up. The one I looked up, Jeannie Buss, I couldn't even find Jeannie Buss having kids. So that's Mickey Harrison's son's been working. The Miami Heat are a family-run business. Mickey Harrison's dad was a founder of the Miami Heat. I believe it's Nick Harrison. He's been with the organization for 17 years. He's the chief executive officer. That is a significantly larger role than Vivek Ranadive's daughter has.
Mm-hmm.
I also tried to look up where he went to school. I couldn't find it. I'm assuming he went to school. I mean, that's a pretty large position to just be like, hey, pal, you're getting the chief executive officer position. That's not a position you can screw up.
And there's a lot of people in very important and high roles in Miami for us to always say Pat Riley owns the franchise. We always say Pat Riley runs things.
He runs things. Yeah. I still believe it. I still believe Pat Riley runs things.
Me too.
But I honestly believe if Mickey Harrison came to Pat Riley and said, hey, we need to do this, Pat says no. The answer is no, we're not doing it. And until that happens and someone proves otherwise, that's what I'm riding with. Does anyone know what Joe Lacobb's son does?
I don't.
I'm looking up all of these. This is the show now. I need to know
Tillman
what
Fertitta.
I need to know what all of these. So Kirk Lacob, he works in the front office. Oh, he's the assistant general manager.
There you go. There you go. Now, I doubt he came from an R&B career, but I don't know what previous experience he had.
So, okay, this is interesting. Kirk is assistant general manager. he graduated from Stanford.
Okay.
He's been with the organization, looks like 12 years.
Okay.
Still pretty young. 34
I wonder if he's 4
years old, it looks like.
My guess, I don't know. Maybe you could help me out, but my guess is I don't think he started as assistant to the general manager.
Assistant to the general manager isn't a real title. I made that up. Assistant general manager. No, I believe that's what he was hired as.
Wow, with the Warriors.
Let me. Yeah. So this was dated in 2010. While searching for a new front office, Lacob decided to pick his son, Kirk, 22-year-old, who graduated from Stanford. Oh no, you're right. Let me get it. Let me get it right. He was hired as. Where's the rest of the sentence? Oh no. Wait. Wow. Lacob decided to pick his son, Kirk, as a 22-year-old who graduated from Stanford in June as director of basketball operations.
Damn, that's higher than assistant to the general manager.
I don't know. It's all made up. Like, none of these titles are real. Like, what are we doing?
And that's kind of what I was getting at this whole time. Like, you can put a title on any of these people. It doesn't mean they're decision makers. They could be decision makers. She could have influence. I'm not saying she doesn't, but you can put the title on whatever. Like, if you want to, she could very well not have much say or responsibility, but if you put that title on her right now, that could fast track her to getting a position with the Kings or with the Stockton Kings or anywhere else in the league, because you have that on your resume. Like, you got on your resume that I was the assistant general manager somewhere, and you're just kind of fast tracking that situation. But you can make, when you're the owner, you make whatever title you want.
Yeah, and shout out to the homie Sean, who types us in all caps on youtube.com/ESPN1320. It's for the Stockton Kings, not the Sacramento Kings. Who cares? Thank you for plainly explaining. You have no clue how this organization works.
Like,
sit down, Sean. Listen to the smart people in the class. You just sit there, read the chat. You just be quiet, sir. Okay. Well, we woke up thinking we were talking about ping pong balls today, and here we are. You just freaked out an entire fan base thinking that Monty McNair's replacement is Vivek's daughter.
See, and this is the problem here, man. Like, number one, it's just not a good, like, you could have brought her in the organization under a different role, under a different title. Like, you absolutely could have. This is where people in that building, they're just not thinking. They have no PR savvy whatsoever.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't bring her in, and that, even if she is like not doing much, like I don't think she is, like, for the job that she has, you don't bring her into that title. Well, your mind.
Well, shout out to our good friend who I believe is listening to this show, Bobby Gerald. Our good friend Bobby Gerald alerted me and me alone. And I don't know why Bobby hates Kenny, but it is one of my favorite bits on the show. Bobby has alerted me to the fact that the young Ranadive has, in fact, left out the assistant part of her Stockton Kings general manager title off of her Twitter page. It says vegan activist, Stockton Kings GM, animal rescue director.
Oh, that's what you got to do, though. I know everything about that. That's what you got to do.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Nelly took Andy's job. That's right. No, I will take the job.
Hey, this is what you got to do. Whether you're the assistant or not, on my Twitter profile, I'm putting GM.
Isn't that a tad bit? Wait a minute. What is on your Twitter profile then? I need to wait a minute. What has Kenny been doing this whole time?
Mine's on the up and up. That's so ridiculous, though. Like, you can't.
Star of D-Lo and KC Monday through Friday. It's all. Oh wow, no, there's a fat ass lie on here.
What's that?
Shea Street vibes. You've got to be kidding me. Shea Street
every
vibes.
Tuesday at 3:20.
Some of y'all ain't old enough to remember J Street vibes, boy. I tell you, that was a vibe.
Every Tuesday at 3:20. J Street vibes.
Hey, today's Tuesday.
Yeah, Jason Jones. Allegedly, the professor.
Okay. Sean Cunningham, he fixed this for me, and I feel so much better because it was bothering me. I should have pointed out Jeannie's role with her late father before taking over as governor. Obviously, the Buss family has been well represented in Lakers operations. Jeannie, in fact, has no children. I thought she had hidden children, and Sean Cunningham just exposed her.
Yeah, man.
I like imagine how boring it would be to cover the Pistons. Like, just imagine if it's or like this version of the Rockets. Like, it wouldn't be any fun.
What have they been talking about for the last couple of weeks?
What are they doing?
Nothing. Yeah.
Oh man. I secretly love all of the dysfunction of this Kings. Like, what would we do otherwise? I mean, who wants to talk about X's? Who wants to talk about wins? Who wants to talk about like functionality isn't fun? Dysfunction is fun. That's why that's why in the late 90s it was Jerry Springer all day long. Like people wanted the dysfunction. The Sacramento Kings are Jerry Springer. The Sacramento Kings are the attitude era of WWE. That's what they are. They're just all over the place. It's wild. It's a mess.
I can't believe they like.
It would be boring otherwise.
Like I said, man, I don't even know what. Bless whoever's advising these people. You cannot. If you want to bring your daughter onto the organization, obviously I have no problem with that. Like I said during the commercial break, if I own the NBA team and Reese wanted to be part of the business, he getting a job. Simple as that. Like he gonna work for the. If I own the King, he gonna work for the Kings. You know what I mean? You can't give her that title. You can't give her that title. Even if she's not, like I keep saying, I don't think she's doing everything that people think she's gonna be doing as the assistant general manager. That's why you don't give her that title. Just don't even. It's a bad look. Even if she's not like in control and doing stuff or making any moves or anything, it's a bad look. And they just always unaware of the look. They're always unaware of the look. They have no clue about the look. It's just a bad look.
How are they so oblivious to this? Like how? How are they just so wrong all the time? Why are you wrong all the time?
No,
Failed R&B singer becomes general manager is funny.
Bro, come on, man.
That's funny.
Come on. How it just writes itself, man. It writes itself. I don't know what they be doing, man. I don't know what they do in that building sometimes.
She was in the celebrity game this year. I mean,
and I will say this. I'm gonna say this. I don't know what she's been doing for the last year or two. As far as she could have been quietly behind the scenes, like kind of getting herself together to be part of the NBA. Well, I'm not saying she's literally just came out the booth to get the assistant general manager. I'm not saying that, but you can't
put her headphones down and said, "Dad, what's next?"
Like she put the same headphones down that I got on, and she was like, "Yo, what are we doing there?"
So according to our friend Sean, she's been with the organization working in the social responsibility department, and she's excited to bring her passion for basketball to her new role.
And that's all fine and well. You can't make her an assistant GM. You can't make her assistant.
What is poor Paul Johnson thinking today? Like
trouble.
Huh.
He's like, I'm in trouble.
So what we're doing, huh? Okay.
All
right. Man. Boy, that tweet's up to 261 quote tweets.
Damn.
I love this. Absolutely love it.
Well, I mean, all right.
There's a lot of man, I hate it here's. A lot of them. Oh, there's a lot of gifs of people drinking as well.
Oh my gosh. Make sure they're drinking McQueen.
Oh, that's all there is to drink. McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted.
Matter of fact, McQueen needs to give us a McQueen gift of somebody drinking for being Kings fans. Create one A pouring McQueen. People gonna be drinking all the time.
I think we could do that because we got those special McQueen glasses.
Mm.
We could
pour off tonight for those special McQueen glasses.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. I
Get some action.
can't wait to hear about it. I got something popping off too. It's just completely different. Completely different. But that's dope. I'm happy to hear it. I don't even know what you're talking about, but anytime you could pour McQueen on a Tuesday, that's a good thing. Of course, a lot of people will pour McQueen, Luke Belair, Ripple, anything to get the Sacramento Kings to move up in the draft tonight, which is where I thought a lot of our discussion would be. It turns out, no, we're talking about assistant general managers
In Stockton.
For now. Watch your back, Monty.
He's on the fast track.
I'm telling you, like I think there's more and more validity to Monty going, I'll wait. Well, let's just see what happens.
That would be so. Look, we talk about how I defend Vivek, and I don't hate him as much as everybody else does. That would be dumb. If you're trying to fast track this young lady to be the general manager of your NBA franchise, that would be stupid. Let me just be perfectly clear. That would be stupid.
Brian said, you guys joke, but wait until next year. Thomas said, if the Kings move up, you have to point to this announcement, right? Well, hey,
look, does she get credit? Did the Kings get credit if they get the number one pick?
Yeah, well, if she's in Chicago, she's not the one in front of the camera. So if she's in Chicago, a part of the lottery, that means she's the one behind the camera. That means she's got to be the good luck charm. So we got to give credit where credit is due.
That's crazy.
Rob W pointed out, can you loan Paul Johnson your Redfin account, your premium Redfin account? Because
Paul Johnson, make sure you got your Trulia app updated.
No. Oh man, Will Z. Kings are going to end up with the 10th pick, and Kings Twitter will literally break. Could you imagine if the Kings fall in the draft? Oh man.
Poor. Look, I don't want to go too hard on the young lady. That's just not really my style. But yeah, they shouldn't have named her the assistant general manager.
I ain't even told you how I felt. I'm just relaying the information that is out there.
How do you feel?
It's on par. It's on par. It's on par. It's only with this organization that this truly means something. In 2010, did Golden State sound off on Joe Lacob? Probably, because it was 2010, not 2015. I don't know. It's just anything that involves, boy, if we could just erase our captain for Vivek Ranadive, man, we might want to go ahead and Jesse, delete like all of last week's podcasts, just like all of them. Just get them off of the internet.
Hey,
they don't exist anymore.
Look, we can keep it there, but make sure you keep listening. If she becomes the general manager, that's stupid. Keep this. Can't be doing that, man. Look, I got told.
Well, she would be the first R&B singer turned general manager, I think, in history.
It would get headlines.
It would get headlines. It definitely would. It would absolutely get headlines. Yes, it will.
Yeah, man, you can't be. I just don't understand it. There was no need to jump off this deep end. There's no need. You could have brought her into the organization, done everything that you wanted to do as far as integrating her into the organization, and if she wants to do this, more power to her. You can do it this way. I'm not gonna say, as far as like Jesse and other people were saying, just make her a scout. Like, I understand why she's not just a scout.
I refuse to believe
assistant general manager.
I absolutely refuse to believe anybody can be a scout. I've watched people who scout. Like, you just can't hire an R&B singer to be a scout. You just can't. You can. I believe you can train somebody to be a scout. You could teach somebody how to scout. But I think there's an eye for it. Like, it is watching and talking to the people who like really do that. Man, that's a vibe. That's different than sitting down and watching a basketball game and trying to determine who's good and who's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. You could have made it if you didn't want to put a scout label on her. You could have created a position outside of like a real one that's assistant general manager.
Okay.
I really don't think but I understand what Jesse's saying. I don't think there's a position that wouldn't have been a story. If you're bringing in your R&B singing daughter into the league, that's going to be.
It wouldn't have been, but like, this is like assistant general man. Like, what if Paul Johnson gets sick? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go over the end and say, what if Paul Johnson died in it? Like, no, what if he gets sick? What if he gets ill? and like so you telling me all basketball decisions are left up to this?
Now, here's another question. Do they have more than one? Because do they have multiple assistant GMs, or is it just Wes Wilcox? And that's just the case. Do organizations in general have more than one assistant?
I believe so, but I also believe Jill, weigh in on this. You said something about McQueen. I'm going to get my McQueen in the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil. We'll continue to cover your favorite franchise when D'Lo and Casey return here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
That's crazy, bro.
I love
they could have gave her Alvin's role. That's what they could have done. Okay, hold on. Right. Oh man. All right, here we go. 13th round with your main man, Kenny Caraway. Shout out to my people over at Meister Watches. Big ups to all my people, Ryan, the whole crew over there, man. And with Jermell Charlo becoming undisputed at 154, I felt like it was about time, and maybe it's a little overdue. It's time for an updated version of KC's top 10 pound for pound rankings. All right. And we're going to go through it all the way. Should I go from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1? Let's go 10 to 1. Let's go 10 to 1. And at number 10, I got Shakur Stevenson. Now, mind you, I wasn't always a huge Shakur fan, but I mean, he's shown me something in the last year and a half or so, man, where I'm like, yo, this dude, he's a real deal. He's a real deal. I got him at number 10. I got Tank Davis at number 9. I got Inoue at number 8. I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, have him up there at top 1, 2, or 3 or whatever. No, not on KC's. He's number 8. He's great, but I still need to see a little bit more than what's going on. I got him at 8. I got Tyson Fury at 7. I got Josh Taylor at 6, undisputed at 140. I got Jermell Charlo at 5, undisputed at 154. I got Canelo Alvarez following his loss to Bivol now at number 4. He was number 2 for me. He dropped down to 4. I got Usyk at 3, went through the whole cruiserweight and then became a heavyweight champion. Got to respect that. Number 2, I got Bud Crawford. Number 1, I got Errol Spence. That's KC's pound for pound list. Now, the way I go about it, I try to mix in a number of different things. You got accomplishments, you got resume, and then you got eye test. And you take a little bit of everything that's going on with all that, and you make your decision based on that. It can't just be resume. It can't just be accomplishments. And you can't disregard the eye test as well. I try to incorporate all of that. And then when you got somebody like Spence above Usyk, Spence has accomplishments. And then I ask the question, pound for pound, if they were truly pound for pound, who is the better fighter, in my opinion? It's Errol Spence. That's why he's above. So that's how it goes. And that's KC's top 10 pound for pound, and that's the 13th round. Bro, that's wild, bro. That's a little wild. That's a little wild. Trust me, I'm having a discussion with you, but I agree. It's wild. You can't be doing that, man. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. No regard. Just oblivious. Bubba Wallace? They're in Sonoma, huh? Coming up like in the next. Is it this week or? Oh, Cole, you had some of them joints, huh? Man, oh man.
We could probably pull it off.
Wow.
It's a pretty big name.
No, that's a good look. Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably pull it off.
That's a good look. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we could do it. I what's that? Yeah, we can do it. Okay. Let's do it. If you'd like to share your feelings about the Sacramento Kings organization, you can connect with us at 916-349-1320. We've got you covered. And it's never boring here talking about the Sacramento Kings, even on what seems like a meaningless day in May. Of course, we've got the draft lottery today, which is a big day in Sacramento and Sacramento only because we make regular appearances. We are let's just continue the analogy. We are Roman Reigns when it comes to the draft lottery. Like we're here. There ain't another team that can say they are constantly here. We are we on a Roman Reigns run of draft lottery appearances.
The Kings, when it comes to the draft lottery, say
acknowledge me.
No, it doesn't quite sound like that. It sounds a little more like
Acknowledge me.
that's what it sounds like. The Sacramento Kings screaming to the NBA.
Acknowledge me.
Hell, maybe Vivek's kid screaming at him.
Acknowledge me.
I don't know, man.
Speaking of, we have an update.
Oh.
You know, Bobby Gerald did not share this with me, but maybe he shared it with you. She has changed her bio. It now has been updated to assistant GM.
Is she listening to the show?
I hope so.
She should be.
Hey,
yeah, you could come on if you want to.
I hope she does. I hope she does a good job.
I mean, come on the show. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I hope she does a good job. I know you feel the same way too. And I hope she does a good job. It's just really, really odd. It's really, really out of left field. And it's like, this is crazy.
I don't want anyone
to do with her life. And she's serious about it. I absolutely wish her nothing but the best.
I don't want anyone in this organization to fail. Like that's not what we root for, man. Like I joke, like if you're gonna be bad, at least be fully dysfunctional because it's fun. Like I'm about content. I don't even know the other side of this. What would covering the Miami Heat be like? I have no idea what this is like. Well, what would it be like covering the Golden State Warriors? I don't know. The Celtics, the Bucks, these teams who regularly get to the playoffs. I have no clue. I know one thing and one thing only, and it's this. But I'll tell you what, if the Kings are the last logo shown tonight, oh, everybody is a fan of this move. Oh, this was the beginning of the turnaround here with Anjali Ranadive named assistant general manager of the Stockton Kings and then the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 draft going to the Sacramento Kings.
Man,
everybody be all right with it.
We'll have to acknowledge her.
You would have to. Well, it wouldn't be this one.
Acknowledge me.
It wouldn't be this one. It would be
Acknowledge me.
Yeah, it'd be that one.
She gets us the first pick. Oh yeah, absolutely. Such a bizarre story. Then a lot of people were like talking about like why'd they have to do it on today of all days. Like, it don't matter if they would have done
Today's not a big day. Just to be clear, today's not a big day.
There's that. It's not a big day. And then if they would have done it next Monday, it would have been just people would have the same reaction.
Yeah, the reaction. Well, what people might mean is, why did you do it when there were eyes on the Kings? Like, why didn't you just bury this story somewhere
on a Friday?
Friday news dump.
Yeah.
No,
you gotta get her a shine. Get her a shine. Celebrate the situation.
She might have media appearances booked.
True.
We got Jesse. Get to work. What are we doing?
She does need to pull up on D-Lo and KC, man. Come on, that'd be a good look.
Yeah, it would be. Let's talk. Let's talk Stockton Kings. Let's talk Kings basketball. Let's talk being a scout. Let's talk your new role. Y'all think we're playing? We're gonna get her. We're gonna get her on here. Yeah. I think I asked
Drizzy
you
while we're at it here, man. Come on, man. We need Drizzy back. Drake.
I would imagine those two be very different, two very different conversations, but I think that's a good idea. Let's see if we can get Drake UU here on the phone.
Might be on that alleged Monty McNair.
Oh, it could be. It could be. I think I asked you this the other day, and forgive me, I don't remember your answer. I think the answer was no. I think you had there's no definitive number one pick in this draft. It's like,
yeah. Some people will say there is. I don't think so necessarily.
I don't think there is either. But I feel like it's the same names. It's Jabari, Paolo, and then Chet. That, like, I feel like it's those that are constantly.
And I don't think anybody. And if we narrow it down some more, I don't think anybody has Paolo number one.
Okay. So good question. So who, if she brings us luck here, at the lottery, who in the Kings get the number one pick? Who is it?
I think it's Jabari.
Okay.
They might go with they might go with Chet though because of the defense, the shot blocking and things of that nature. They might go that route, but I think it would be Jabari. I think Jabari's better than Chet, but Chet is pretty good though. I like Chet a lot. He's a good ball player.
Do they both? I mean, because Chet's a center, but he can shoot. No. Is that overrated?
In theory, he can shoot.
Oh my!
He didn't shoot very well at all this past season, but in theory, he can shoot.
Can Jabari shoot?
Yeah,
in theory or in reality?
Both. They're good.
So he's the perfect fit because he's a 4 who can spread. That clears the lane that allows him to either shoot or do whatever he wants.
See, I think Paolo's better. Jabari is like really good. Paolo is the most impressive guy I saw in college this year. I said it after the first game I saw him in the Garden when Coach K got an hour pregame ceremony for his for his first game of the season. I said, "Yo, Paolo looked like Carmelo."
You did say that. I recall that.
I get Carmelo vibes from him, and I just offensively, I think he's better than Jabari. Now, Jabari might be a better defensive player. He may have more intangibles, but as far as like being a stretch 4, being able to score at that 4 position, I didn't see anything all year that made me think Paolo wasn't better at that position.
So okay, so I'm gonna change. I'm gonna rephrase the question then. Who would you want at number 1? Because I feel like you just said it's Paolo, but no one's saying Paolo's number 1. But if Kenny Caraway was the if Kenny Caraway came and took Monty McNair's job.
To be honest with you, I got to dive into that a little bit more because, like I just said, I think Paolo's a better shooter, better stretch four.
He looks like he's NBA ready right now.
Yeah, I think he is too. But Jabari, he has those capabilities, and I want to dive into his game a little bit more to see if he has, a little more intricacies as far as being a better passer or what he's able to do on the defensive end. Is he a better ball handler? I want to dive into that a little bit more than just what I saw this, in the games that I saw Auburn this season. Because every time I saw him, I liked him, but he didn't like handle the ball too much. He was a finisher, right? They didn't run offense through him or anything like that. And that's kind of what Paolo was too. And I think Paolo's a little better at that than Jabari. So I want to see if there's a little bit more to Jabari's game. So it's a little bit of a cop out, but trust. I will have who I would take at one.
Bro, we've got plenty of time, and
today. I'll put it to you like
chances are we're not going to need that, but
today, without looking deeper into it, I would take Paolo.
Is top 4 exciting or is only top 3 exciting?
Top 4 is exciting. I mean, after you get through those 3, you got Jaden Ivey. Shaden is looking.
It's like you have your pick of the second tier. If it like sometimes you can break drafts down into like tiers, and it feels like those 3. Those 3 are probably going 1, 2, 3 in some way, shape, or form.
Well, and then here's the crazy part. Now I'm gonna really, just spin your mind around. I feel like Shaden might have the highest ceiling of anybody. Shaden. He could, like I keep saying it, but he reminds me of now. Paul George is like 6'9", Shaden Sharp is 6'6", but he reminds me of Paul George. The fluidness of his game, what he can do on the offensive end, being able to score at all 3 levels. From what I've seen of him, now it's been a lot of EYBL high school games and workouts and things of that nature. So you haven't seen him in a high level competitive game in almost a year, and I take that into consideration as well. But man, it looks like he's got the total package.
Refresh my memory on what launched you into the. Were you just watching videos on him?
No, I just kept seeing his name come up on mock drafts, and they would say Kentucky, and then I would watch Kentucky. I'm like, he's not. Who is? He's not even out here. Like, what's going on? So then that made me dive deeper into the situation and saw that he didn't play all year. And
so he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy who, because there's always one, and I think this happens in the NFL too, who inevitably skyrockets, like out of or maybe not skyrockets, but they rise up draft boards because everyone starts diving into film on them. And all of a sudden you become enamored because you're so far removed from games for everybody. So it doesn't matter that he didn't play this year. It matters. We're all looking at these draft picks the same now. We're looking at clips. We're looking at highlights. We're looking at film. We're looking at all that stuff. He could potentially be the one where you see him on mock drafts. Maybe you see him at 9. Then all of a sudden you see him at 6. Now all of a sudden he's 4. Now all of a sudden, wait a minute. Is there a Kenny Caraway out there in a front office who says, who's got the highest ceiling of all of these guys? It's this kid we were watching here. And all of a sudden he's in the top 3.
Right. And that's kind of, and even his rise to get to that part, because by the time he got to Kentucky, I think he ended up starting off as like he was like a lottery pick. He's probably number 10 or something like that. But before he got there, like he wasn't really on a lot of people's radar as a high school player. And then he had
He's
this
Canadian, right?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Oh,
but I don't remember. He
someone in the top is Canadian. Maybe it's not him.
I don't think so. But he came out of nowhere
because whoever it is, they got making up to do because of Anthony Bennett. So like there's a lot of pressure on them to fix Canadian basketball.
Might be, but he went crazy in this EYBL circuit this past summer, and he kind of went from like I don't want to say he was unknown, but he was kind of close to unknown to all of a sudden, like, yo, this guy, he's like the best player in his class. And then he went from the best player in his class to, oh, he's going to go to Kentucky. He's going to reclassify and go to Kentucky. And then he's like, oh, well, this dude, he's nice. He might be a lottery pick. Then it was like, well, he might be top 5. And then you have, guys that come out like Draft Express saying like, yo, he's got talent to be like the best player in the draft. You know what I mean? Like
Shaden is in fact born in London, Ontario.
Yeah,
He's Canadian.
Got you.
So
Man, he is tantalizing when you watch.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's just where the film was that's not concerning, but it gets taken down a notch.
Yeah,
because it's not college basketball. It's not
right, and you got
a higher level of basketball
into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a full. You're not getting video of a full workout. You're getting like highlights. You're getting highlights of a workout, and they're all geared to make him look spectacular, right? You know what I mean? And then when you see this stuff in high school, it's still high school. Yeah, it's high level, and he's going up against some of the best players in his class, but it's still high school. So you got to put all of that into consideration, and it's tough, man. That's why the draft is tough. It really is. I think one thing that people a misnomer about the draft in the NBA is I really do people think it's easy. Like it's not. It's a crapshoot. You're kind of wishing upon a star with pretty much everybody outside of LeBron. You know what I mean? Like
it's easy in hindsight.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But in the moment, they're especially like when you're seeing these guys, and if you bring them in for a workout, you're getting a lot of these guys in a workout one-on-one or against cones or assistant coaches, like they almost should hit every shot. That shouldn't be like impressive to a certain degree, like they should. It's tough to judge these guys off of and make these $100 million decisions on a crapshoot. Like the draft is a crapshoot. I know what people think about it. It is absolutely a crapshoot. You're gambling on 19-year-olds and what they might be, what you hope they could be.
But just like gambling, there are really, really good gamblers out there. And that's whether it's studying probabilities or things like that. Like that's what separates.
But and maybe this is where the gambling analogy goes left a little bit. Like the best in the NBA are right like 20% of the time. Like that's the best. These are guys they don't miss. It's almost like baseball, right? The best fail 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. It is absolutely a crapshoot.
You just can't fail when you're at the upper end. I think that's what the big difference is. Or, and I mean there are exceptions. Utah is an exception. Like, there are plenty of exceptions out there of teams that, strike with mid-lottery picks or, whatever the case may be. I mean, people talk about the process in Philadelphia all the time. Philadelphia failed a lot at the top of the draft.
Right. And that's what's so stupid about all this, about the situation that we're in. People are like, you can't miss on these type of drafts. These people miss on these drafts all the time and they recover.
We can't recover.
Everybody does, and they recover. And it's just ridiculous that we can't get out of this hole. For really the one mistake that we made at that. It's not like we're always there. We ain't got 3 number 1 picks like Minnesota's had, or like 5 like Philadelphia.
We had 1 number 2
one time, and didn't pick the right guy, and we just can't get out of this rut. And now here's R&B singers as our general manager.
Well, assistant general manager Kenny, failed R&B singer to assistant general manager.
And I fire.
And how do I know she failed? Like, is she a bad singer? I think I saw her perform at a halftime once.
She did a song with Tyga, and it was all right. I didn't think it was bad. It's cool.
Maybe she wasn't successful, but maybe not necessarily a failure. It's this from
she got a Tyga feature. I don't even like Tyga, but she got a Tyga feature.
Sports Illustrated, that just costs money, right? That doesn't cost much else. It's just money. So we could get a Tiger feature if we could, go to DLoandKC.com, buy some t-shirts, and we'll get a Tiger feature too. A Sports Illustrated said this about the Kings. It's always hard to know exactly what the Kings are doing. Ain't that the truth? But fit may come into play a bit more for them in this draft. They made clear that they're building around De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis pairing, and they drafted Davion Mitchell 9th in last year's draft. That would seem to put Sacramento in the market for a bigger wing and may dissuade them from selecting certain guards and bigs with duplicate skill sets. If they don't move into the top 4, they're probably drafting 7th or 8th, which puts them in a fairly good spot to address a need. Shade and Sharp and Mathurin look like good potential matches, as they could also consider a big like Jalen Durant. This was actually the part that caught my attention that I wanted to throw your way. If they do move up, things could get interesting. And he doesn't specify. He just says move up. So they can only move up into the top 4. The Kings would be a tricky fit for Jaden Ivey and Paolo Banchero due to the presence of Fox and Sabonis. I think that's worth revisiting.
Yeah.
Speculatively, that type of an outcome might make them a candidate to trade back, depending on where the pick falls. So I'll stop it right there and ask, where does Paolo Banchero doesn't fit?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about.
Because
I don't know what he's talking about. And then he talks about that taking Durant. I mean, that's a center. Didn't we just talk about this yesterday?
We did. And what's weird is
I like the kid. He can play, the young guy out of Memphis. Like, I like him. That doesn't seem like a fit.
Well, the thing that confused me was they could also consider a big like Jalen Duran, while immediately going into a sentence about tricky fits with Fox and Sabonis. It's like, wait a minute. You just mentioned a big, and now you're saying Paolo Banchero won't fit because of what Domantas Sabonis does?
Right.
Now I'm beginning to speculate whether national media members watch the Pacers too. Maybe they didn't watch the Pacers till Tyrese Halliburton got there. Maybe they're not familiar with what Domantas Sabonis does at his position. Because and then, the thought of trading back again goes back to an earlier conversation we had where I just didn't quite get what is the value of a draft pick in this draft. Does it have the same value as a pick last year? Does it have the same value as a pick next year? Is this draft a little too known? Like, is next year's pick or the year after's pick sexier because you feel like what's in front of you this year, and maybe it's not as tantalizing for some general managers as, I was watching this kid and this kid and this kid. They'll be available next year. Let's try to get next year's draft pick instead of this one. It's like the idea of trading a pick versus trading a player who was picked.
Right.
The day after the draft trade, does it change once you establish a name? Once you put a name on it, does it change a little bit?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's. And we've brought this up in roundabout ways before. I just don't know what type of assets the Kings have to make moves if this draft isn't super appealing.
Right.
Because that's probably you have the expiring contracts in Harrison Barnes. I understand that, but we've talked about that being kind of the last option here. Talk about Rashawn Holmes. We like Rashawn here. Rashawn was a free agent last year, and Rashawn, the deal that the Sacramento Kings got with Rashawn Holmes was because it appeared that money wasn't out there from anyone else.
Right.
So why we think all of a sudden someone's going to trade for a contract that's already signed after coming off the year that we had or the year that he had, that's a bit foolish of all of us.
Right.
The Kings' best asset isn't that the draft pick isn't necessarily that attractive.
It's not. And that's why like I wanted to move the draft pick and all this other stuff, but is it going to get what we're asking for? Right? We're asking for there's a number 3 type guy or a third man. He might not even be number 3. We're asking for a guy that might be on the same level as Fox and Sabonis or whatever. Even, like, that's not happening. That's not happening. Not with just the draft picks. Like, maybe if you combine the draft pick with Harrison and Rashawn, yeah, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But like I told you, that might just result in Tobias Harris.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that might not result in Pascal Siakam, something like that, like people have been talking about. So if that's the case, I think they're a little closer. They're a little closer to running this thing back than people realize. Because you don't have any assets. I don't see the assets. And I know James talks about like Justin Holiday and this expiring, that expiring. No disrespect. Who wants these guys? Like, who's out here clamoring to have these? It might make your salary work, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to make the trade work for them to feel like they're getting some type of value. That's got to be Harrison and Rashawn.
Yeah, I think James' point is always I don't think he's talking about the player being attractive. I think he's talking about the expiring contract being attractive. And the important part about that is, what team are you dealing with? Because you have to find someone who needs to get under the salary cap. And they're not getting off a contract that's expiring next year. They're going to want to get off a contract that's not expiring for like 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So is that a bad contract? Is that a player you're willing to take a chance? Is it a John Collins who you're like, no, I'm willing to take a chance on a John Collins? Like that, all of this stuff comes into play, and it all depends on the suitor. Sometimes in the NBA, you stop talking about players that fit and you start talking about contracts that work. We'll step out. We'll come back. Another thing that I noticed here as we head into the NBA draft lottery that we want to bring to your attention, we'll open up the phone lines as well, 916-349-1320. We got Jason Jones set to join us. Lots more ahead here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Be right back.
Yes. So let's jump into this Sasha Banks. This Sasha Banks Naomi thing where we have a minute. This was a weird story that popped up yesterday. And I really hate the way WWE handled this, because it was reminiscent of, if you remember, when Stone Cold walked out and the next day they like buried him, and like they buried him for like days and weeks, and then you could tell they like immediately regretted it. And in these types of situation where it appears like you've got, a situation with some talent that gets a little volatile, because if you're unaware of the situation, I guess it looks like Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out on Raw yesterday because of some sort of creative dispute with the way that the main event was booked. Now, this is where it gets dicey. WWE gets their story out first, and they frame it a certain way. And the fact that they framed it a certain way before they were any details out about it leads me to believe it was bullshit. Like, it wasn't like they were trying to get a message across that wasn't even out there yet. And there's this, I don't know who this person is, but there's a really interesting Twitter thread out there. And the way I found it on Squared Circle on Reddit, and the way it was framed as, whoever this person is, Naomi follows them on Twitter. So there's some sort of connection. And he wrote a pretty decent length thread with a lot of details in it. And it was like, yo, wow, okay, yo, there's something here. But obviously, and I have no idea if that's Sasha and Naomi story. It's a little bit different than WWE's version of the story, but it's the WWE's in their best interest to just let stuff like this calm down. Like they did that with CM Punk. When CM Punk walked out and everybody knew it, WWE didn't say anything. They addressed it. I think it was a couple of weeks later when they were in Chicago, and they hit Punk's music and had Paul Heyman walk out. Paul Heyman cuts this masterful promo. That's the way you handle these types of situations. But now you've put Sasha and Naomi put WWE in a bad situation. WWE put Naomi and Sasha in a worse situation. And now, like, I don't know how you kiss and make up and get this working, but I don't, in WWE, it feels like you're not supposed to speak up and say something. And it feels like they went to the people that they needed to go to and said, yo, this is kind of trash. Yo, like, why aren't we doing more? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? And you see, of course, they become difficult. They have bad attitudes, which there's probably a lot more to that story you could add to it. I won't right now because I need to read a little bit more on it, but I don't know. I hate when these stories pop up in wrestling because it muddies what's like people's real life versus their fictional character. I mean, AEW certainly, those would be two massive gets for AEW, but it would be like they're going to be there. It's no time soon because WWE would have to release them. There's the 90-day clause. There's no chance they're releasing Sasha Banks. They probably would rather pay Sasha for the next year, even if she was one of those $1 million performers. They'd rather pay her and let her sit at home. Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. If you want to watch the show, if you're on Odyssey or 1320 AM, you want to be part of the conversation, you can. 916-349-1320. You have a chance to win 2 VIP tickets to the Golden Sky Fest, a 2-day music, beer, and food fest at Discovery Park this October 15th and 16th. Enter on the contest page at ESPN1320.net. The professor, Jason Jones, set to join us coming up here in just a couple of minutes. The Oakland A's and the Oakland A's Coliseum managed to hit. Yeah, they managed to hit another kind of low last night as the Minnesota Twins, one of the Minnesota Twins broadcasters, Dick Bremer, I believe, was asked to leave. Not because he said something wrong, not because he did anything wrong. No, because an exterminator needed to come in and try to catch Possum, who was lingering around the press box, which, of course, many people caught on their camera phones. Shout out to Dick Bremer, who's not obviously not familiar with the Oakland Coliseum because he tweeted last night, I've just been asked to leave the visiting broadcast booth so an exterminator could come in and try to catch a possum. A series of words that I'm guessing has never been connected before. No, sir. This is Oakland. This is Oakland, my man. This is the Coliseum.
Didn't this possum pop up 2 days ago? Last night wasn't the first day. I saw this over the weekend. Possum crawling from the ceiling.
Are we sure it was the same possum?
I'm sure it's not. I bet there's a family in there.
There is 0% chance that there is a possum in the Oakland Coliseum. This, again, you could say whatever you want to about Oakland, the A's, old clown boy's name, whatever. I can't even remember his name. This is Rob Manfred's problem.
Oh, yeah.
This is so embarrassing for the sport of Major League Baseball. Because I don't mean this as a shot. The Raiders aren't playing in Oakland. Mm-hmm. They ain't there. The Warriors don't play there. Giants don't. No, nobody play. That's the A's Coliseum. That's where the A's play. This is a Major League Baseball problem. This is more egg on the face of Rob Manfred for refusing to do anything about that disgusting stadium and the way the ridiculous people who are in charge of that organization run it.
They're running that franchise and that ballpark like slumlords. Like they're running it like oh boy, and Coming to America. When
you may enter. The landlord? Him?
Lord.
Yeah.
That's how they're running the Oakland Coliseum. It's a mess. It is a mess, and it
Give
seems
me
like-
your poorest apartment. That's the Oakland Coliseum, buddy. If Coming to America was in 2022, Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall would be staying at the Oakland
They'd be
Coliseum
staying at the Oakland Coliseum, and they'd be like,
next to
we
the
didn't say-
possums and cats.
"We didn't say something this poor."
Unbelievable. David Jackson says, where I think it was David. Where did that message go? He said the A's are selling Rally Possum T-shirts, but he says no, seriously. That's real. They're doing that.
Come on.
I was like, come
I've
on,
seen
man.
it probably.
He's kidding. He's got to be kidding.
They think they're so clever and they're so funny. Cavill with his little tweets and all this other stuff. And he's a slumlord. Him and
Gross.
the owner, they're just some slumlords. And Rob Manfred, maybe Rob Manfred's the biggest slumlord because he's got control of the whole building. And he's just letting it happen. It's embarrassing. It really is. It is.
How do you
unbelievably embarrassing?
You oversee Major League Baseball and you continue to do nothing. I can't stress this enough. As it pertains to his job, Rob Manfred is the most useless human being in the world. Oh, daughter Ranadive been on the job for 2 seconds. She's already more useful than Rob Manfred is.
Facts. It's nasty. Nasty.
Anyways,
poor A's fans.
Yeah, I feel for y'all.
By the way, so.
I feel, well, that's what they're designed to do.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, the San Francisco Giants, they win a thriller against the Rockies. Your boy Yaz, that is a hell of a mustache that Yaz is rocking.
Yeah, the whole squad. They got the whole mustache thing going on. That's
that
really on my back. I would be like Brandon Belt if I was on that team. No, I'm not getting a mustache. I'm keeping my beard.
Yes, boy, that is something. I don't know what the meaning behind all of that is, but he came to the plate last night. I was like, oh, that is
great.
That's special.
Great A.
And that is special right there.
If you don't keep doing what
that's right.
You keep
that's right.
That's as long as you need to, pal.
That's all yours, baby. That's a good luck mustache at this point.
Big time, man. You know, Kirk Casale, 2 home runs last night. Looked like we was gonna cruise the victory. I mean, we were up 3. It was 4-1. I don't know if I can say cruise, but it looked like you're gonna, you're gonna have a pretty good night. Things were gonna keep rolling. The Rockies keep coming back like they always do in Colorado. But Yaz gets the big one. And now I was looking at the standings earlier today. Now you're starting to see some separation in NL West. Mm-hmm. You're starting to see those Rockies and those Diamondbacks fall back. And really, it's a 3-team race like we all thought it would be. And right now, Giants just a game and a half behind the Dodgers for first.
Yeah.
Giants, even though they had a rough weekend, sneaky went on like a 5-6 game winning streak.
They did this, but and that's what I was about to ask you. This is the second series against Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they sweep the first one?
They did sweep the first one.
So they haven't lost to the Rockies yet.
No, and the Rockies were trying to show signs of doing something.
Yeah.
And the Giants really just said, we're putting an end to all that. Matter of fact, the Rockies are now in last place.
Oh, okay, they are, but they're 17 and 18. Now, that's worth noting because we
7 games back.
Well, no, but the point I was going to make is we talked about the difficulty of this division, like a week or two ago. And this was I think was right before the Giants Rockies series when, the Rockies I think at one point were like 4 or 5 games above 500, and they were headed into that series. And you saw the Dodgers doing what they're doing, and then the Padres and Giants, and even the Diamondbacks leveled out a little bit. Now they're back to 500, but it's still, and this could very well change in 2 weeks. It's still a pretty strong division. They're in last place. Maybe they're not going to be a threat. The Diamondbacks not
Chris.
I mean, not the Diamondbacks. The Rockies. I don't know that either of those teams were ever a threat, but still, as it stands, still one of the tougher divisions in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to keep having these uphill battles. Why do the baseball and football gods do this to my teams, Niners and Giants? Why can't we be in a sorry division?
I don't know.
It's not.
I wish I
fire.
It's not fair.
Fire.
It's not. I wish I could help you.
Real quick, I had a question. Maybe you can help me out. Just a
Probably
question.
not, but okay.
And I'm not saying they need to go anywhere or nothing like that. I'm not making that accusation, but are we sure baseball works in Denver? I mean, the Rockies got to the World Series one time. Other than that, they've never even really ever been in contention for anything. And it's going to happen again this year. They can't get any pitchers because of Coors Field. So they don't get free agent pitchers. They haven't been able to bring up any pitchers, develop any pitchers for their entire existence. I mean, come on, 93. 93 is when they came in. And we ain't got nothing in 90. How many years is that? We going on 30 years?
Well, okay. So I mean, I don't know. Do people attend the games? I feel like that's the more
They used to.
So they don't anymore.
Not like at the same clip. They still probably have their attendance is probably fine, but they used to like sell out every game when they were the first in the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's kind of worn off a little bit, and people just kind of go or whatever, but they're never good.
Not willing to say it. Well, neither are
I'm not.
we.
Once again, I'm not saying.
Kings.
I'm not saying to move them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a fundamental fault. Like it's not even. I don't even know if it's organizational. Like with the Kings, you could say it's organizational. They just don't. Some people would say they're incompetent.
Just can't get people to go play baseball in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's that I'm going to be completely transparent. This is not a topic that I have given even remote any thought to at all.
Do people, Aldrin, you're good. You're my guy. Nobody listens to me. Nobody. No. I specifically preference is saying I'm not saying to move the team. I'm saying it just might not ever work. They may never win.
Yeah, they might not. They might not.
Just asking the questions.
I don't know. Let me go play baseball in Denver for a minute and figure it out. Like I don't know. That question threw me off. Now I got to go study up on the. Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Well, let's do this first. You're listening to D-Lo and KC on ESPN 1320 KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station. And driven by last year's Elk Grove Dodge, the 16th annual Sacramento Kings draft lottery day is upon us. Of course, the lottery proceeds. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, which will not only be without Kyle Lowry for the Miami Heat tonight, but will be without Marcus Smart. And Al Horford is out.
Oh,
Al Horford, boy, I don't know. I mean, unforeseen circumstances and health and safety protocols are back with a vengeance.
that's brutal.
Al Horford is out with health and safety protocols. Marcus Smart is out with a right mid foot sprain.
Dang.
Oh,
That's
boy.
Tough. That's
Well,
tough.
man, that's tough for Boston.
Well,
Jesse, you all right in there?
Jesse, good.
Okay. Yeah, they won without. They did win I think one game without Marcus Smart. I think that was against Milwaukee where he missed a game.
Yeah.
Man, he takes some scary falls, dude. He took that tough one where Giannis kind of he
Clipped him a little bit.
Oh man, he takes some tough falls.
Got to protect yourself out there, Marcus. Come on, big dog.
That's tough though. It's tough. Anytime Marcus Smart's out, that's tough. And to lose Al Horford also in the dreaded health and safety protocols. Tough start for both squads. Again, Kyle Lowry's out. Of course, the Heat have just been winning without Kyle Lowry. I'm still excited for the game. We'll see what happens. You talk about what was the Kings line last year, moving on a string or something along that, like moving on a line, something like that.
String. Yeah.
That is what the Boston Celtics do. They're a well-oiled machine, and not to diminish what Marcus Smart does. Certainly not to diminish what Marcus Smart does, because no one does it better than him or Al Horford. You can plug guys in there to do some of that stuff, not all of it. You can't plug the brains of Marcus Smart into another Boston Celtic. But what he does defensively, that team can make up for a chunk of it. Again, not all of it, but they can make up for a chunk of it, especially since they don't have. Well, I was going to say they don't have a ton of dominant scorers, but they could have some guys get really, really hot in addition to what Jimmy Butler can do with the ball. So it's going to be tough for Boston tonight.
Bam. It's going to be tough for them to deal with Bam inside without Al Horford and Tyler Hero, who's going to guard him. I know it's a team effort out there. Maybe throw Jalen on him and stuff like that. Maybe Jason in certain situations, but that's not going to be easy. They got 3 guys that can give you buckets. So without having your 2, Jesse, is it safe to say your 2 best defensive players out there? Or is Tatum?
I would have
Tatum second best. All right. Okay.
Boy, yeah, I mean,
still locked in.
Tatum get it done solo, man. He about to own that strap. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Hey, wait just 1 second.
Oh, yeah, okay. You never have like really true breaking news though.
Just in case y'all didn't hear me the first time.
Okay.
This is breaking news.
I feel like this is going to be a letdown.
The Walt Disney Company, ESPN, and the XFL reach an exclusive multi-year agreement. All XFL games will be carried across ABC, ESPN platforms, and FX networks.
That was not breaking glass worthy.
Well, it was breaking news, so it's breaking glass worthy.
You broke glass for the XFL? And look, The Rock is my guy, but you broke glass for the XFL?
Hey, man, this big news. Big news.
You know what this is, man? And I know that WWE has some sort of deal with ESPN, and that's fine. But you know what that really is? Yeah. There was a while, and maybe it's quieted down a little bit, but and do what Sal Saki says.
ESPN and all.
Respect the glass, Casey. Respect the glass.
Respect me breaking the glass.
No, that's not. That was not break glass worthy.
You know
but
everybody out here talking about me breaking the glass, respecting. No, this y'all need to respect what I got going on and what I'm doing.
You're trying like hell to find that button. That's the funny part, is you're trying like hell to find whatever button.
There you go.
Y'all understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on it.
Man, you had to dig for that one, boy. You had to dig for that one. That's the power of Dwayne Johnson, man. That's what that is. Being able to put a twice failed football product back on that network and on the main network. That's the power of the People's Champ.
He may not have the power to make anybody watch. Have you watched the USFL?
No, it's not owned by The Rock or Danny.
Still football.
Oh, shoot, there's Zoa. There's Zoa in my refrigerator because it's owned by Danny and Dwayne. So XFL will, at least for a moment, be on my television.
I saw the kickoff of a USFL game in the first play, and then I changed the channel. I mean, it wasn't like bad or anything. I just moved on with my life. But the funny thing about that is I was watching that, and they have a cameraman right where the kickoff is, right where the ball is. Then if you do like a pan out shot, you can see the cameraman sitting there in front of the ball that's about to be kicked off. They're trying to get like this up close and personal view. And all I could think about is, what if they wanted to do an onside kick? This guy's on the field in the way.
Well, he probably wouldn't be there because they'd line up differently.
But they don't always line up that way for an onside kick.
I don't think you can do that anymore.
Since when?
I think a couple of years ago. I think
the one thing that you couldn't do is you couldn't have like 10 people on one side. They would be all spread out like a normal kick.
Yeah. Okay. This is not important enough to argue about. So I'm not sure. But you know what I think these football leagues do, and whatever. It's a credit to the first run of the XFL. They were trying all of these different camera angles. A lot of them still exist today. that didn't exist before 2001. I think it was.
Yeah,
That's yeah, you got to find something, right? If you're the lower tier football league, you got to find something.
Yeah, let's get this guy off the field.
Let's get that breaking glass button off of your.
Never. Matter of fact, it needs to be louder. Actually,
no. We need to get that button off of your board. NBA draft lottery coming up just a few hours away. Jason Jones, the professor Jason Jones, will join us here coming up in about 10 minutes or so. I'm curious what he thinks about the latest front office moves for the Stockton Kings, with Vivek Ranadive's daughter being named assistant general manager. Let's check in on Sean Cunningham's original tweet here. Thanks to David Jackson who tagged us in the rally Possum. This just is not funny, dude. Like, good Lord, man.
What an embarrassment.
I agree wholeheartedly. Let's check in on Sean Cunningham's tweet. 376 retweets, 325 of them quote tweeted. That means 325 of the 376 people who retweeted this had something to add to it.
Just had to put their 2 cents in.
And again, the winning time. Oh, I didn't see what Kenny Caraway's tweet was. I've got to see that.
Major.
There's a lot of winning time references here in the quote tweets, which Randy Lilly Jr. says, Vivek said, okay, I didn't get the coach I wanted. Watch my next move.
Should have let him hire Mark Jackson.
Should have.
I'm hired. Everybody, let the basketball people do basketball thing. Okay, I'll do business things.
Yeah, there's like a billion nepotism references. Yeah, guys, welcome to business.
That doesn't really bother me. Like,
business is nepotism. Like,
yeah, that doesn't really bother me. Like I said, if I owned a basketball team and Reese wanted to be a part of it, guess what? He's going to have a job with the team.
Would you start Reese with a job that fit his experience level in professional basketball?
I mean, yes and
or is he going straight to general manager?
I wouldn't make him the assistant GM. That's what I would not do. But I wouldn't have him. I don't know. I'm different though. Maybe I would.
I need you to finish this though. Explain to me what you do.
I would have him in the mailroom. You know what I'm saying? Just like you got to learn how things go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I'm also not.
Is the mailroom still a thing?
Everybody, not me, right? Some people would be like, all right, you're gonna tackle, you be the assistant to the assistant, the general manager. You know, you get that experience. Some people might do that. But he'd have a job. Like I'd set him up. I wouldn't have done this though. I wouldn't have done this. Especially the reputation that I have. This is crazy.
It's not uncommon whether you agree with it or not. Maybe that's the point. People are calling nepotism. That doesn't necessarily mean they don't understand that this happens. Like, you know, we have an issue with the way the NFL coaching stuff works. What the hell is Bill Belichick's son on a coaching staff again? Well, because he's been around football and he's Bill Belichick's son. That's why he's on a coaching staff. And that doesn't fail, by the way. I talk about my friend Mike Tebow, the coach of the Washington Wizards. He brought his son. Now his son, he made sure his son worked at colleges. He made sure his son got assistant jobs and jobs elsewhere before he brought him onto his staff in the league. And the fact is, Eric's a great coach. Eric's going to be a great WNBA coach one day.
Right.
And he's going to share the name with the greatest WNBA, the winningest WNBA coach there's ever been. It's just when you launch in with okay, you don't need to go out and get any experience in this field. Just go ahead and be the assistant general manager. And we're going to tell everyone that your responsibilities are to assist in everything basketball ops, including scouting, roster, whatever else, Sean constructed. That's a eyebrow raising thing because when you Google her, R&B singer comes up, R&B singer, songwriter. And I'm all for the, the animal rescue and the, I forgot the exact title, vegan fighter or whatever it was, vegan advocate. Yo, I'm with you. I'll rock with you on them Beyond Burgers. Let's do it. That doesn't mean you're qualified to run or help run a sports franchise.
Now,
And the G League should be treated as something extremely important.
now let me play devil's advocate a little bit, just a little bit. I just talked about like I'd have Reese in the mail room or something like that. Like she didn't, from what I can read, what Sean Cunningham said, she didn't walk out of the studio, out of the booth, and become assistant GM. She was with the organization at least last year. I don't know how long she's had that position before, but she's been with the organization.
The social responsibility department.
That doesn't seem like anything with basketball ops, but she's been with the organization. So, I mean, is that the equivalent of starting in the mailroom?
Social responsibility department? I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I'm literally just asking the question. Is that the same?
Maybe. You putting Reese in the mailroom for a year?
That's what I was saying. I don't know how long she's been there either. I know 1 year for sure. It may have been the only year. I don't know if she did any other years with that.
I found. What do I got up? Let's see. I don't know when this posting was. The Sacramento Kings organization. This is the manager. Maybe this is the job she vacated. The manager of social responsibility will oversee various aspects of the Sacramento Kings social responsibility department, including research, department of innovative ideas, creation of detailed plans, building relationships with partner organizations and diverse community partners, implementing and coordinating a range of activities and initiatives which are designed to have positive impact on the local community.
No, that's not basketball ops.
It's not the mailroom. Yeah, no. This got nothing to do with basketball.
No, not basketball ops.
It's got nothing to do with basketball.
That's nothing to do with putting together a draft board.
I imagine Jason Jones will have some interesting things to say regarding this. He joins us next.
Some interesting laughs. That's all you're
gonna laugh. He gonna laugh. He might come on the stream just laughing, just belly laughing. We'll talk to Jason when D'Lo and Casey return here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Oh, let's see. Text James back here real quick. COVID is in fact yes, and I'm sorry it took your beloved Al Horford.
I agree. I'm watching Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and they did that thing that we talked about last year. It's the Dodgers up by 2 in the ninth. Guy goes to second base on like a wild pitch. Next pitch, Craig Kimbrell drops the ball to get the balk, so the guy has to go to third. They don't want no signs still in here if they don't need it. So bizarre. Would this be fair or foul? If I thought somebody was stealing signs at second base and my second baseman or shortstop alerted me to it, I'd probably act like I'm picking them off at second and just drill them. Hit them in the hip.
Yeah.
you're gonna steal signs. You're gonna wear this first. If you can decipher the code.
True story. What old show? It's just a raw. It's a raw from September 14th, 1998. I just put on something that just plays into the next episode so it could just run and I look over and see whatever's happening. This was right after that Highway to Hell SummerSlam. This dog really spent the entire day up here with me.
No, Jason, I'm not mad at him. I'm saying if I have a problem, if I'm the pitcher and I have a problem with them stealing signs, that's what I would do. I don't think I'd have that much of a problem with it, me personally. I'm just saying if they have a problem with it, that's how you handle it. Let's go. Let's go.
Why? Why are we doing this? These parents really out here fighting umpires, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Y'all look ridiculous. This from Shams. The NBA is discussing a new in-season tournament that would begin as soon as the 2023-2024 season.
Let's go.
With the play-in tournament here to stay, given its success, concepts are beginning to ramp up on another competitive event.
Yeah. Let's go.
Why though?
Because
an in-season tournament?
If you're gonna give me 82 games, like at least give me some fabricated tournament to keep my interest at some point. Like I'm interested all the time, but maybe not everybody, right? But if you throw a tournament on here or whatever, here's the interesting thing about it. How does that tournament in WNBA go?
The Commissioner's Cup, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with how it's put together or anything like that. I haven't. How does it go though?
So if memory serves me correctly, I think they only did the one because of
the bubble. The wobble?
No, the Olympics.
Mm.
I think
they're doing it now, though, aren't they?
They're doing it right now.
I think so. I thought that's what I saw because I saw one of the games that Seattle played was part of the Commissioner's Cup, I thought.
So let's see. There are 10 designated cup games per team.
Mm.
The first home game and the first road game each team plays against its 5 conference rivals cup games. The Commissioner's Cup starts and ends May 6th through July 7th. The team from each conference with the top record in cup games will compete for a lucrative prize pool in the Commissioner's Cup championship game on Tuesday, July 26th. So the games are worked into the regular season.
Right. So from how I read that and how it goes is they have just a schedule and they just say that
designated cup games
is part of the Commissioner's Cup. And this is not a different location. It's not anything like that. It's just they pick it's just
part of the schedule.
Aces, and they're like, this is part of the Commissioner's Cup thing.
And the Aces are 2-0 in their cup games, and Chicago is 1-0. They lead the respective conferences. So and I guess they keep track of point differential as well.
They could do that in the NBA, and then I think
make it a part of the regular season.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I get that they're talking about that is that I keep saying it. I'm half joking, half dead serious. They want to have a location, like how I don't know if the WNBA has that, but they want to have a spot, whether it's Vegas or New York or Chicago, where.
That's a good question. I don't know where the final was played that year. The second annual Commissioner's Cup. Yeah, I don't know where the final was played.
So, because even if you keep track of this stuff throughout the season, the culmination of it, you want to have a location. And yeah, I don't know how that was supposed to work out. But I mean, I'm all for it. It's cool.
It's presented by Coinbase. The Storm won the first and only title. I don't know where it was played though. Breonna Stewart was the MVP. They played I have no idea. So I'm fine. So if you're not, I'm good with that. If you're not adding like extra games, if you're not adding like a Thursday through Monday trip to Las Vegas or Brooklyn or whatever to do this, then like I'm for that. Because like, how would you convince LeBron and how would you convince these guys to go play in this tournament when it's like, wait, what does this have to do with me winning a championship? Nothing. Forget it. I ain't doing it.
I think it would have to. I think it would be one of those things though, and that's when you talk about convincing them. I'm not saying everybody loves Las Vegas, but I think
LeBron could go to Las Vegas anytime he wants to. He ain't worried about some in-season tournament cup. He lives in Los Angeles. He go to Las Vegas after a game if he wants to.
Yeah, not if he has to fight a Boston, but if your actual work is in Las Vegas, like hell yeah, let's go.
Or I could be off the next 5 days.
True.
If it's along the lines of the Commissioner's Cup and there's just designated like TNT games, ESPN games, ABC games, that's fine. I mean, I feel like you probably got to bring it to a conclusion by what? All-Star break?
That's what I'm thinking also. And I'm kind of thinking All-Star break might be when the culmination that weekend, All-Star weekend.
Yeah, because it won't affect it'll probably affect some players, but likely won't affect a ton. Because now you're asking guys to go play the commissioner, or we'll call it the Commissioner's Cup, whatever. You go play this in-season tournament championship, and the All-Star game. We need you at the All-Star game too. Also at the day of service, we need you at the day of service. We also need you courtside at the dunk contest and the celebrity game and the 3-point contest. We need you there for all of that. Oh, and the big
they
Hall
don't
of Fame
do
game. We need you.
I don't do that.
Well, I'm not talking about just LeBron. I mean, there are other guys
that do that. They don't do that stuff.
A lot of the stars do it.
3-point and slam dunk contest?
Not participate. I said courtside at it.
Oh, they can put me there.
Courtside, Kenny.
But look, much more important, in my opinion, much more important. You want to talk about something that fries my bacon, as people would say. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
Sham also says the NBA is eyeing a rule change to the quote unquote transition take foul that would award the offensive team with 1 free throw and retaining possession. Please put this into play. There is nothing that pisses me off more than that stupid take foul. Please penalize the hell out of these people. Get it out of the game.
There's no fourth wall here on the show, so I'll just go ahead and say I'm not sure if Jason Jones knows. We can't see him. Like, he's connected, but either his camera's not on or he's on the phone. Okay. He is so we'll that's just like, man, it's that camera's really having that camera's having a hell of a time connecting. We'll welcome in. Yeah. Okay. What's up, Jay?
Nothing. See, I take a week off, and my whole computer is just telling me you need to call the Athletic and say replace me.
I agree. That needs to happen.
Every week something stops working.
Oh man.
So now I'm down a camera. I'm down a microphone. Yeah, it's just they need take some of that NYT money and hook a brother up with a new laptop.
Please, yeah, we need some of that.
You got any? Opinions on the daughter of Vivek Ranadive being named the assistant general manager of the G League Stockton Kings?
Yeah, I got two things. Part of me, the cynical part of me, just laughs.
That's what we figured.
Like,
yep.
Yeah, but kind of the more pragmatic, understanding how the business goes. A lot of owners put their children in, important spots in the organization. But usually, you try to sneak them in like as a scout, and you move them up little by little. It's just kind of like, oh, just plop it right here next to, hey, Bobby, here's your new assistant GM. Like, okay. I mean, I don't really know what to, it's just kind of like another week in the Kings world. It's like they could, there's got to be something going on.
And Jesse, we were talking about this off air, and he was saying, yeah, you should have just named her a scout or something like that. I was you could have created a position. I wouldn't have said scout because I feel like I just don't feel like I'm not saying that she's qualified for this job from everything I know, but scout would just be like, all right, she's not flying to San Antonio on a Tuesday to
No.
So just make up a title for her. They could have made up a title. They did not have to make her the assistant general manager.
Put her like, I don't know what you do. It's just weird. I mean, it's weird, but it's the King, so it's not really weird. It's just like, really, this is what we're doing. Your Monty McNair can't get an extension. Well, whether or not he deserves one is to be debated. But by the way, Monty, this is now part of the brain trust. So I think that's the thing that's going to kind of just rankle people. You're talking about going into player development, and she has a voice in player development now.
Well, now we know why Monty hasn't gotten his extension, because we're ready to move the next general manager right into place.
Get ready a year from now. She'll be having a press conference at Golden One, and we'll be I'm just talking. I don't know that for sure.
Drake is going to perform at the press conference, or who is it? Tyga. Tyga will perform.
I'm there then. I mean, hey, I didn't have that on my Kings bingo card this week.
No, we were just worried about lottery balls when the show started, and then all of a sudden it was.
I'm just like, okay. I mean, it's so. It's not even like probably in the top 8 of the weirdest things I can think of with the Kings. It's like, okay, yeah. It's just, I don't know. I really can't even come up with words anymore. It's like, okay. I have to think about the fact that, other teams, like I said, Jeannie Buzzworth. I'm not calling her Jeannie by any stretch. I don't know if she has a business degree or anything like that. I don't know what her qualifications are. I've only seen her sing. So
those might be her qualifications.
Maybe I can't really speak it. I don't even know what to say at this point. It's just like, okay, this is what they want to do, I suppose, and maybe they'll win another summer league title and she'll be at the podium.
Well, if we get this
because of the players she helped get on the summer league team, who knows?
If we get this number 1 pick tonight, I mean, she's got to get credit for it. I'm just saying.
And they'll pick the wrong. I shouldn't say they'll pick the wrong guy at number 1. I'm sorry. I'm being mean. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
Absolutely being cruel.
I shouldn't be so pessimistic. If they get the number 1 pick, they can't mess that up, right?
No.
Sure. Whatever you say, Jason, they can't mess it up. Let's go with that. Sure.
But Jason, look, we had this discussion a little while ago, and we were talking about how like the Kings get flack for messing up the number 2 pick or whatever. And I just talked about how unfair it is. Because these people around the league, they mess up top picks all the time, and they're able to recover like all the time. Number 1, number 2 picks get messed up. Minnesota had 3 of them. Philadelphia, they got Embiid right, but they got 4 wrong. The Lakers got like 3 or 4 of them wrong, and they're all able to rebound. Why can't the Kings rebound from the one time they had like a top 3 pick?
Because it's a collection of like 13 or whatever of your last 16 lottery picks being flopped. I mean, let's do their lottery history. DeMarcus, okay, all-star. Well, who's the next best? De'Aaron?
Yeah.
I mean, Tyrese. I mean, he's not even on the team anymore. So they've been in the lottery basically 15 of the last 16 years and have absolutely flopped repeatedly. Tyreek, won Rookie of the Year, so okay, maybe there's another one.
Yeah, I'll always debate that one, but I get
I'll
it.
say this
He won
about
Rookie of the Year,
my thing is at least Tyreek was an NBA player.
Sure.
They drafted guys
Mhm.
who we all knew early on this ain't gonna work. I mean, the first time I saw Thomas Robinson play in summer league, I said, "Oh God, they messed up." I mean, this was summer league, and I said, "Oh God, this is terrible."
Yeah.
I had that feeling after Ben McLemore's first summer league game. I was like, "Ooh."
Oh yeah. But then conversely, Nick Stauskas looked okay his first summer league game. So I don't put a whole lot of But Thomas was the one guy that I saw in summer league and said, "Oh my God, what did they do?"
Damn.
Man, you know what the real concerning thing is you look at this, like I have these pulled up. Where did DeMarcus go? So DeMarcus, with all of his injuries, 654 games in the league. Of course, the next year Isaiah Thomas was drafted, 550 games in the league. But then you look, Thomas Robinson, 313. Ben McLemore has had a sustained career. Nick Stauskas in the 300s. Willie Cauley-Stein, 422 games. Marquise Chris, we know a variety of things was done there. There's De'Aaron Fox right there. Marvin Bagley's at 166, and obviously we're getting lower as the draft picks get current. But this is a tough list of names when you look at the draft picks since DeMarcus Cousins was taken. And even when you go back to before DeMarcus Cousins was taken, it's not pretty there either.
No, and if you look at the ones since Cubs, the guys that went after the guys they took.
Yeah.
It's just like there's some of them where they would have threw a dart at the board. They'd have been better off doing that than the guys they picked. I mean, you had the 10th pick in 2017, and you traded down for two guys throughout the league.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have just stayed there and took Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
This is true.
But no, you traded down and you basically took a flyer on a hope with Harry, and because Justin Jackson was a nice guy, and and you thought like I said, these guys are out the league. I mean, and that's the reason why people can't, get over the Kings draft, because it's like you would think this many years in a row you get lucky 2 or 3 times.
Nope.
Not the
Yeah, you would think that after DeMarcus, DeMarcus was 12 years ago, and you haven't gotten one breakthrough guy since, and you've been in the top 5 2 of those times.
That's
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's almost and some of their best draft luck has been guys fell to them. Tyrese fell to them. DeMarcus went 5 because people wondered about his attitude and everything. DeMarcus is not the 5th best player in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He should have went no lower than 2 based on talent. But the guys had questions about him, and sometimes a couple times they've done really well. They just kind of sat there, and the guys fell to them.
Yeah.
And even with De'Aaron, to a degree, I still say, that was people considered that a 5-player draft, and they were like, whoever's left, you take the 5th guy. Because if that had been Josh Jackson, they would have took Josh Jackson. So I mean, I know, sometimes you would think the lottery would be an exciting day for Kings fans, but I know it's just kind of like, okay, how are we going to mess this up?
No, let me ask. I wanted to ask you a question about the Ranadive's daughter's position, assistant general manager. Are you familiar with, like, number one, if other teams have multiple assistant GMs, and then, like, what exactly do they do? I know Sean Cunningham broke it down, but are they decision makers at all? Or are they just kind of sitting around taking notes for the actual GM?
It varies from situation to situation. They're not going to be the one who makes the actual decision generally, but they're going to be a point of contact for agents. They're going to be someone that teams, other teams might reach out to, especially if you can't get the other GMs unavailable. You would ideally like them to be able to have some insider input when it comes to player decisions, like, hey, Joe Schmo was available. What do you think about him? Or maybe in some cases, if you want to mirror an NBA team, it really doesn't probably apply in the G League, but maybe your expertise is numbers and finance and, you know, how to make the contracts work. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go with it, you know, but a big part of the G League is talent development, you know, and that's a big part of the G League. Especially if you're a team like the Kings, who you can't rely on. We're going to go out there and just sign a bunch of guys, you know, in terms of depth. You need to have people in those positions who can really do the job. And I think a big part of it's going to be what exactly is her job. But it's just, you know, that's going to be the thing. Like I said, who knows? Maybe she's an assistant GM, you know, in charge. Who knows? But the fact she's in Chicago means you know, you're part of probably the, you know, you're part of the interview process with prospects. You know, I forgot how old she is, but I can't, you know, she's probably interviewing people she's barely older than. So it's a unique dynamic. Like I said, it's not completely unusual that someone would have their child in a position on a team. It's just,
is it concerning?
To me, it is, because unless she's been doing a lot of work that we don't know about, she went from singing the anthem and like trying to be a pop star to now I'm part of the front office.
That's crazy.
It's quite the diversion from trying to get your stuff played on Spotify and Apple. You know,
SoundCloud.
It's like you went from, okay, can I make an album? Wow, let me go. Now I'm in Chicago with the combine, going over, you know, vertical leaps and broad jumps and stuff like that. I mean, it's weird, but it's weird, but it's normal, if that makes any sense.
Perfect sense.
I guess it just stands out because it's the Kings, and we get more anxious about it. What lottery were you at again? You told us the story about being in the back.
I was at the Luka. I was at the Luka lottery.
Oh man, why didn't we send Jason Jones?
So I know Sunday. I mean, I was in Vegas, but I know Sunday was a very somber day for a lot of people in Sacramento, seeing that happen. You know,
yes, and no. Like,
I mean, get over it.
You can
Amy
move
was the one trolling the fans, not me. I was busy having fun. I barely watched the game. Once I saw it was a blowout, I'm like, forget it. I'm gonna have fun. But
so let me ask you about that though, Jason. Is it purely the fact that Sacramento hasn't won, which is why everybody comes with those particular Luka jokes? Because they don't have them for Phoenix, they don't have them for Atlanta, they don't have them for Memphis. It always goes back to Sacramento, but those teams have won. So is that if the Kings make the second round for the next 2 years, will they stop with the Luka jokes like they do everybody else?
No, in part because of other teams. Other teams you mentioned, the guys they drafted are at least on some level impact players.
DeAndre Ayton about to be gone.
No, he's restricted. They ain't letting him leave.
He ain't coming back.
He's restricted. He has no choice unless they trade him. So you know, and they've won. You know, you think about it. Trae Young, All-Star. Jaren Jackson was, you know, considered a contender for Defensive Player of the Year. Now that he was able to stay on the court a good chunk of the season, you know, Luka is Luka. Ayton is a good. He's a starter. I mean, Bagley wasn't even starting by the time he left Sacramento. So I mean, and plus they're Sacramento. I mean, no one ever made an SNL skit about the Suns when they were terrible.
They should.
So, I mean, and the Suns have had some crazy things, and I mean, some crazy stuff. You know, but they've won games. They got to the finals. You know, they're a playoff team, so you can overlook some of that because whatever they did worked on some level. Nothing the Kings have done has worked.
That's what I'm saying. It's simply about the fact that they haven't won. Is why this keeps coming up.
And I think they're still going to get made fun of too, just because, well, it is the Kings, and the fact that winning is, well, they're not going to be winning, but just the fact that Luka would seem like, if there was a player that everyone assumed would be a king, you know, the whole Vlade loves the European. Yeah, everyone assumed that anyone's going to take Luka Vlade. And then there was kind of an assumption after he didn't take him that Vlade must know something that none of us know, because if anyone has scouted Luka, it's Vlade and his people. They know something that we don't know. That was kind of my thought. I was like, what? I'm like, you know, what do they know? So all I've heard is great things about him, and they, you know, so. I mean, there's just so many other layers. I mean, you can make fun of the Lakers for passing on Tatum and taking the lines. I mean, there's a bunch of examples. But it's the Kings. And as long as they have that playoff streak going on, as long as SNL has jokes, as long as former people got jokes, or I mean, it's not just around the league. I mean, I talk to guys I know around the league still. They keep asking me why they rush to hire Mike Brown of all people. I'm still getting asked that. Like, what was the hurry to hire Mike Brown? Like, why? They're going to question everything the Sacramento Kings do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you have the reputation that the Kings had, it's warranted. Even when, like, I don't think hiring Mike Brown was wrong, and I don't think there was a rush.
A lot of people do think it was wrong. This is great. A lot of people think it was wrong.
I mean, okay, like I get it. Like I understand people. Like I don't. Man, I guess I just see Mike Brown wrong. I don't think he's a bad coach at all.
I think you see Mike Brown a lot different than folks around the league. Some folks around the league see Mike Brown. A lot of folks just see him as a guy who's not going to command the respect of the locker room, and that he's a nice guy. He's not terrible, but a lot of people just feel like that locker room needed something different. Like they needed a jolt.
Command the respect of the locker room. Like, you want respect here. I won 66 games in a season. You idiots have won 62 over the last 2. You want to talk about respect? I got back-to-back 60-win seasons. I got more wins as a Cleveland Cavaliers coach than your organization has in the last decade. You want to talk to me about respect?
Is LeBron going to be on this team next year?
That's the year after.
How old was the Aaron when he won 66 games? Like 12? These guys don't care about that.
Yeah, I mean, he won with the Lakers too. You know that.
That was 10 years ago when he got fired the next year after 5 games. These guys don't care about that.
Well, these guys don't seem to care. They don't care about winning either.
Well, I'm not going to debate you on that either. Like I said, I didn't mean to turn it to a Mike Brown session. I'm just saying that. I saw some of my buddies down in Vegas, and they were kind of like, I guess, like, what was the rush? What was the rush to make sure that Mike Brown didn't get away from you? And I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I'm out here trying to chill.
It's Kenny Caraway. That's what the rush was. They tune into D-Lo and KC every day, and Kenny's like, "What's taking so long? What's taking so long?"
3 weeks ago.
It should have been. They should have been. They should have been had. And the time ended up being right. It ended up being okay. But yeah, there was no need in waiting around. You got work to do, man.
I will say, Mike, the Warriors getting down by 50 something didn't exactly help people. go, yeah, that was even though that's not an indictment on him as overall as a coach. It was just funny because the game before, people were like, "Oh, look, our coach won a playoff game." They weren't claiming him, and 2 nights later, it was like, "Oh, well, that's Steve's team."
Hey, Jay, let me ask you an NBA question real quick. Pat Bev and his little car wash the last 2 days, fair or foul?
Foul.
I agree.
He's running this. I mean, we get he don't like Chris Paul, but some of the stuff he was just. It was like, dude, come on, who hurt you? It's like you're Pat Bev. It's like, dude, It's like I don't get him sometimes. I mean, it's entertaining, but it's like, come on, dude, really? I don't think any of us think Chris Paul's still a great defender. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was clear their plan was to attack him, but then for him, then he was just taking shots at everybody, talking about, he subliminally threw Paul George under the bus. Like,
jeez.
Give him the same hate you give P. Like, what if Paul George is home in Palmdale chilling? He didn't need that. Paul George didn't need that, and then the whole Lakers is a bubble championship. It's like, but didn't you choke away a 3-1 lead in the bubble after you sat over there and made fun of Damian Lillard?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, and let's be real, Pat. You can't. I'm like, you laughed at Damian Lillard, and then you blew a 3-1 lead, and now you want to say it was bubble. When if they had won that championship, Pat Bev would run around with his ring on his neck probably every week. I'm just like, I mean, it's almost sad they even gave him that platform to basically walk around and be a hater.
Yep.
They let him be a hater from 6 a.m. all the way to noon. And it was just like, okay, we get it. You don't like Chris Paul. We get it. You don't like, we get it. I mean, a lot of guys in the league don't like Chris Paul. I mean, and that's a fact. A lot of guys don't like him personally. But to basically talk about him like he's not even good and you're Pat Bev, man, chill. I mean, the same dude who threw a parade for winning a playing game. I was like, come on, come on now. My man went Kobe after Game 7 against Boston for winning the play-in game. I mean,
and these are the things with Pat Bev that, because I like Pat Bev. I like him. I like his journey. I think he's entertaining on the court and everything. He's cool or whatever. But when you try to box somebody like Chris Paul, now you make other people open up your permanent file and go through your stuff. We weren't gonna say nothing about you. It was just it was perfectly fine. But then you start running your mouth, and now we got to go through your permanent file. And there's a lot of stuff in there.
He waited until this year to fire that tweet about Westbrook. Westbrook's been on his head for years.
Yeah,
he waits till Westbrook is having the worst season of his life, and he'd act on a team that's better than Westbrook probably for the first time in his career. And now he's got something to say. It's like, dude, where was this energy at when he was in OKC and you was in Houston? Where was that energy at then?
Right.
It's like, dude, you've had a nice little. Pat's had a great career. Relatively speaking,
for his role.
For his role, made a lot of money. Got a little name for himself. But dude, there's no need for. I mean, it's like he became a Twitter troll for the network. And just ran around just saying stuff, and it was like, I'm not even mad at Pat Bev. I mean, I'm more mad at the fact that something that's supposed to be passing itself off as journalism. It's really not though. But he should have been doing that on All the Smoke or something, or on a podcast.
Matt wasn't gonna have that.
Oh, Matt wasn't gonna have that. Matt would have checked him. Matt and Jack would have checked him on the spot. They just let him keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, some guys, guys did, but it was a clown show.
Absolutely,
Jason. We appreciate you as always. Thanks, homie. Get that tech support from the Athletic.
I'm calling him right now. This is getting ridiculous. Yeah. All right, so.
Thanks, Jay. That's Jason Jones, the professor. Jason Jones, of course, of the Athletic. Bad computer and all. Draft lottery coming up a little bit over an hour from now.
Draft lottery. Do you think they get in the top 3? No. Or what's the odds? Are the top 3 or the top 4?
Top 4. I believe it's a large percentage to get into the top 4. I think it's like 30 something. And I also think they have like a 30% chance to fall back. To fall back one spot. So yes, fall back to 8. So.
I'm gonna go out on the limb. I'm gonna put it on wax. I think they get in the top 3 tonight.
Okay. I'm with it.
No consequences to me being wrong or anything.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
I'm putting it on wax. I think they get in the top 3 tonight.
I think and this very well, we were frustrated because I messed up the time of the lottery. I think part of the reason. This is just me putting a couple pieces of the puzzle together. Part of the reason for a 5 o'clock start versus the former 4:30 start is looking at the on-stage representatives, like the people who are in front of the camera representing the team. Like in the Kings case, it's Domantas Sabonis. Mm-hmm. It feels like the NBA is leaning in. I think they've always made it like, you want to, or at least these 12 teams, you really want to tune in. It feels like they're leaning into the television portion of this, like a little bit more like it's a TV show that you're turning into, because you look at some of these names, PJ Washington's there. Of course, that's not the biggest name. Of course, we're huge PJ Washington fans. We hope
man. Keep
Charlotte's paying him a appearance fee for this, a sizable one. But like Anderson Varejão's with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I was reading an article on I think it's the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and they referred to Anderson Varejão as Cavs legend.
Oh my.
That's what I said. The NBA refers to him as team ambassador. But still, Anderson Varejão, Rip Hamilton is there. Raphael Stone, the general manager for the Houston Rockets, is representing Houston. Kelly Krauskopf, the assistant general manager, former general manager of the Indiana Fever, is representing the Pacers. Swin Cash is going to be on stage. Worldwide. Yep, my girl. It's actually Swin Cash Canal. I didn't realize she got married. But Swin will be on stage. Worldwide West. Nick Collison, Thunder legend. Nick Collison will represent the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dame Lillard's there, representing the Blazers. Sabonis, obviously, for the Kings. David Robinson for the Spurs. Wes Unseld Jr. for Washington. That's a good clip of names right there. And I feel like part of this is like the NBA is like, yo, let's take advantage of this. Like let's create content. Let's work smarter.
Well, I feel like they've been doing it for years, and I felt that way when they took commercial breaks during the lottery.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
100%.
What?
Yeah.
Now we're getting into the top 6. We'll be right back with we'll be what?
Yeah. Then you got a break before the final 3 are revealed. That's the rule. Then you put him there on stage, and the final 3 will be Domantas Sabonis standing on stage.
I'm gonna say Dame.
I was gonna say Dame too.
Yeah.
With the Blazers, Dame Lillard,
and I'll say Houston.
That's it. Man, we're thinking too much alike. This is scary. I was going Raphael Stone. So those guys, it's Dame Lillard, Domantas Sabonis, and Raphael Stone. They're going to be the 3 after the commercial break, standing up there. And then Raphael Stone's going to be called as number 3. And then it's going to be Domantas Sabonis and Dame Lillard. Whose name is going to be called first? It's going to be Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard's name is going to be called first, and Domantas Sabonis is going to be there doing like a double fist pump, holding what's my man's name? Mark something, holding the card with Mark there and arm in arm, and this will be the biggest moment in the Sacramento Kings history. That's what's going to happen.
We're going to be all right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think they're getting in the top 3, though. I'm saying it, man. Getting in the top 3 today.
The alternative is Mark turns the card over at 8, and there's a flash of Domantas Sabonis with a dejected look on his face.
That's all right, too.
But it's funny, though. All kidding aside, I do think the Blazers are getting into the top 3.
I do, too. The conspiracy theorist in me says...
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. It kind of makes me think the same thing.
Dame is there for a reason. Everything's a work. Everything is professional wrestling. And,
with that said, I don't know that you fly William Westland to Chicago and just have him sit at the chair.
That's the other elephant in the room.
This Worldwide West, like hey, Raphael, that's my spot, son. Sit down. I don't care how bad your team was. You're gonna draft 4th. Get out of my face. I don't know what we're going to do. Set your alerts over on youtube.com/ESPN1320. We might be back at 5. I'm not sure. We were going to originally do a long show. That's when my idiot self thought the draft started at 4:30. The lottery started at 4:30. They did
that to you. You didn't do anything wrong.
We're carrying the lottery. Oh, here on 1320. Good. You ain't got to go nowhere. We'll carry the radio. They got a radio crew for the lottery. So stay put. We've got you here on 1320 a.m. The lottery right into Miami and Boston. Regardless, we'll be here to cover it tomorrow at noon on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Go Kings.
Oh, my bad. I'm messing up the time, guys. If you're on Twitch, if you're in here, anyone else? I don't know. Bryce, do the thing where you send everyone over to the Deuce and Mo channel. I don't know how to do that. I think you guys can do that. Everyone on Twitch, send them over to the Deuce and Mo channel. They start at 4, and then we've got to sign off. So that's me. I'm sorry, we got to get going. But YouTube, everybody, more content, plenty more content. Just flip over to the Deuce and Mo channel. If they haven't started their show already, I think they're starting it at 5 or 4. Sorry, I think they're starting at 4. So go check that out, and then make sure you're back here tomorrow. We appreciate you, man. Sorry to cut out so early.
Okay.